Welcome everybody to our certified DevOps Engineer live free training program. And as you know, this training I provided as a volunteer free of charge to support those entering into the IT. Today we start our journey together. Okay, this is our roadmap, and according to our roadmap, we are at day 1, and of course, our focus is on Ubuntu. But today is special, so today is time to level up our game, right? So we will see in last two sessions we already discussed all the basics, and I hope you already practice. I mean, the questions which I shared with you, it was almost or approximately 100 practice questions were there, right? And of course, as usual, these are our training landscape. Those who wants to join, they can scan the QR code, they can join this training and register themselves. And by the way, there is a good news. We received a lot of love, lot of support. I don't say subscriber. I don't like that word. It should be said support. The name should be like that, support button, not the subscribe button. And many people registered online. One of the attendees with us today registered like this. And but today our session is gonna be long, and I'm sorry, but in next session we will introduce it. So without further ado, let's start. As I mentioned in our WhatsApp group, we are going to cover tons of commands and lots of topics today. And guys, this is not a beginner's level session. I assume like last two sessions, we only talk about the foundation. And I believe now our foundation is very strong, right? I believe now you are at the level. That's why I said today is the session, or now it's the time to level up our game. So in this session, let's see what we covered. So in first session, we have already seen fundamentals, virtualization concept, installing VirtualBox, downloading Ubuntu image, virtual machine creation, and the installation, post configuration. All these things we already done in our previous session. And then we started our this core Linux skills for DevOps, right? And in this, we already talk about how to use GUI version, terminal versus CLI. We talk about, we also explored the Linux file system. We're using this analogy, right, which is one of the very complicated or confusing topic, right? And then we explore the Linux file system. And guys, I would like to mention one thing over here. I mean, I realize when I put this image over here, like this line, right? It's showing like it is connected. So it's not like that. This is slash sys and slash proc. These are accessible from all this directory. Okay, you can see always all the directories beginning or starting point is their slash, right? So they are all accessible from the slash. You cannot access slash war slash, I mean slash war slash sys, right? It's not like that. So don't be confused with this. That's why we discussed this directory and there also, right? And additionally, swap is not the part of file system hierarchy, and we already talk about this why, right? And then last thing, we talk about the fundamental commands. Today is our topic, essential DevOps command, right? And what we did last time, so we covered all these commands, right? CD, ls, pwd, cp, mv, rm, touch, mkdi. And guys, when we are going, I mean, going through with this, all the our further commands, you will realize these commands are really necessary. We also talk about this why commands, these commands are necessary, where we use this and their applicability, right? So today's session is more specifically based on the, of course, Linux, but how I will choose what I'm going to cover today. One side is my, I mean, I have been using Linux approximately more than 20 years. Yeah. And one side I have experience in my own field, right? DevOps. So based on that, I did, okay, this is the my Linux knowledge. This side is the actual thing I use as a DevOps engineer, the Linux fundamentals. So I combine both the things, right? And on that basis, I have decided to show you the things. So here I'm gonna cover almost 10 plus concept, right, which are really important as a DevOps engineer. So as a DevOps engineer, what you're gonna do, you will get the exposure in today's session, right? So let's begin. This is the way, right? It's my laptop. I have also given it my branding, DSOC. Why not, right? So inside that I have this virtual machine, right? And inside this, my terminal is. So when I show you this, it means I actually executed those commands on the virtual machine. And to open a terminal, there are some summary for shortcut keys. So I told you Control Option T and Control Alt T based on the Linux or Windows. So these are the shortcuts to open the command prompt. And here on my system, I have my this is item2. Again, it's a kind of terminal emulator, right? Similar to terminal in Linux, right? So I'm using this one. So when I show you this window, it means I'm executing that command remotely, right? So as a DevOps engineer, you are going to log in on server, right, which is in the remote somewhere, and you log in on from your own local machine. So you are not going to accessing directly. Okay, so in that way we start our journey. Okay, so very first thing, I have a server, right? So I got, let's say, somebody told me, or I'm working on one of the project. Okay, and we got some details from our team, other teams, let's say project team. We will discuss all these things in next session, right? How this everything works, how we receive the request, how we work on the particular request. Okay, so let's say now I got some requirement, okay, and I have to configure a server, right? Or I have to execute some of the things on the server. So what I will do, I will go to my terminal, right? And one more thing is like we most of also have Windows background, so Windows also supports directly from your terminal. Or maybe if you are using WSL, so you can also use that to do SSH into your remote system, right? So in our case, our remote system is virtual machine where our server is. So of course remote is remote, same you, if you access your machine in the cloud or somewhere else, you will be executing the same command, no difference at all. Okay, so in our case, our virtual machine, we are considering our virtual machine is a server, right? And that server where we have to log in. So as a DevOps engineer, first thing what I will do, right? So I will execute one command, right, which is SSH, and this is my username. We are coming shortly on this, and I will explain you each and everything what we are doing over here. So at the moment, just consider I'm from my own local system. I'm executing this command. This is says secure shell. Okay, and this is my username. And yes, I don't want to expose my IP because of the security thing, right? So that's why I mask this. But I will also show you right in this session how you can log in. And remember, when we install the VirtualBox, I told you to go into the network setting and disable the net, right? So that is the reason. I will also tell you why and how you can use the net, right? So very first thing I did, SSH dsoc3 at the rate my IP of the server. And what happened? Oh my god, it says connected to host, this your IP address, port 22, connection refused. So there are many cases can be happen in this. So very first thing, we are gonna go on the server and we will do the troubleshooting why we are not able to do the SSH into the server. Very first thing, so very first step, we are not executing anything. Very first thing, we are not able to access the server in company. In real life, what happened, as a DevOps engineer, if you are working and you are lucky, you have direct access to that server, right? Of course, when this machine in the cloud, so you will be able to access. And because cloud is also part of the DevOps, and you can directly go into the cloud instance, right, and do open the session manager, and you can figure it out what's happening, right? But in this case, our scenario is different. So in real life, we have a network team, sorry, the Linux team. Then we contact Linux team and say, guys, this is not working at all, right? And they says, okay, we give you the access, go ahead and check, we don't know what you want to do. Maybe Linux administrator is lazy. Okay, so we thanked to him, and then we went to the server. This is our server, and you may be noticed the wallpaper has changed. So I told you last time, when you click over here, there is a dark mode or dark theme is there, right? Then when you do this, the theme will be changed. And next I open my terminal. Okay, again I have changed some over here, this three dot. When you click on this, you will find the preference. Okay, in preference, inside that you can choose the whatever color scheme you like. Okay, I use Tango, and yeah, Tango dark, and all the themes has been changed of the terminal as well. I liked it in this way. Okay, so that is about that. So now what happened, very first thing, it says connection refuse on port number 22. So this port number 22, guys, remember, this is one of the thing, as a beginner, or when you it can be asked to you. Okay, the standard port of secure shell, okay, or SSH protocol. So port number 2 is the default. So this would be your interview question. Okay, so answer would be SSH works on port number 22. Okay, then I again come back, and what I have done over here. So very first thing, it says connection refuse. So might be a possibility, right? Because it's refusing the connection. So it's like you are entering into the room and nobody is letting you in. Like when you join this session, so I have to accept you, right? So which might be lead you to, let's see, the firewall rules or maybe something else. But this, before going into that, what I will do, I execute this commands. Okay, so let's see what we have done. So very first thing, I check whether SSH is installed or not. So I will again explain you this in later on when we go into package management, right? But at the moment I executed this command, it says open SSH only client, right? We have only client, we do not have server. It means this server can use SSH command to connect on other server, right? But other cannot connect on this machine using the SSH. So we are missing one. Then what I did in next step, I did a search apt search, and this is the package name. So package name is simply the name of the software, right? And it says open SSH server, then it's a sorting done and full text search done, and then it gives me the details. Okay, open SSH server / noble, and all this information, right? Then I got, okay, this is my actual server name, I mean the package name, right? Then what I have done, then I install it. Okay, and what happened, oh god, we got some permission issues, right? So it says, are you root? Guys, one more thing, whatever command I'm showing you over here, try to execute as a non-root user. Okay, just to make yourself aware what are the commands are possibly executed by the admin user and as a non-admin user. Okay, but by the time when you going to start executing all the command, you will become an expert. Then you immediately know, okay, I have to install something, I need to use sudo. Similarly, like in Windows, run as an administrator, right? Or if you are an administrator, it asks you to pass, do you want to continue, like that, right? And in this case, I use then sudo. So I inform this command, okay, you have to execute as an administrator, right? Then it asked me for my password. Then I provided my password. After that, what happened? Yes, all the things happen. Okay, and this again, now I got the prompt which says, do you want to continue? Yes, of course, that's why we are doing it. So I said yes, and when I say yes, then it's automatically installed, right? So this is everything we are doing from the remote. Here some of the things as well, right? When you remember, when I we talk about the directories, and I when I told you all the etcs here, /etc/etc/etc, I told you all the configuration file will go by default in /etc, right? So that's why knowing the directory roles is really important, right? So now you know if anything is there, then you can directly go into the etc and you can find for the particular configuration file, it says sshd/config, right? And these are some symbolic links. So symbolic link are just the shortcut you create in Windows to access your file directly. So similarly, it is creating some shortcut, and these are the library, right? So we don't go much more into it at the moment, but you must know where you can find the um, configuration file, right? Next, what happened, I come back on the same screen, and then I confirm whether it is installed or not, right? So I check again, and grep is one of the utility, right, in your text searching. I said I it means okay, don't care about the case sensitive. Linux is case sensitive. When you write capital A and small a, both are different. Okay. Then it says, now before we only had this option open ssh slash dash client noble and all these things, and now it says open ssh server, right? And it, sorry, it also says here install automatic. So it means what we install this one. So when you install ssh, it will also come up with the secure file transfer protocol server, sftp, right? So those who are studying in engineering, some of you already, so you know all this protocol. So these protocols works like this. Okay. Then next thing, I will also have to check one last thing. After installation, sometimes it is possible the service is not running. Sudo systemctl status. This command is always remember, sudo systemctl status. Okay, where you can check whether the service is actually running or not. When it says okay, it's running green, all good, then now what happened, we'll go back to our system, right, and execute the command again. So you might be not get this many information, but I already did, and again try to do it again. That's why I put this snapshot. Again, I executed the same command, ssh dsoc at the rate your IP address, right? I will also show you how you get the IP address of your this remote server. In real world, we know our Linux team, network team, they already decided, okay, this is that this would be IP address of the server, and in most of the cases, you have the URL of the server. You don't access your server by the IP address. Depends, but this has happened. So this is actually right. So this is the username at the server IP address. Then it says okay, all this things. Then it says fingerprint and this some strings, right? Again, I mask this. It says this, ignore this, but you will see this one. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? When you do this first time with any new server, okay, you will see like this. You have to say yes, right? Then warning, permanently edit this thing. So this is the file .ssh known host. So this entry will goes over here. Next time you will not get this kind of not warning, I won't say, yeah, warning we can say, right? And then you have to provide the passwords. When you provide the password, and you are entering into your ubuntu system, right? So far, guys, any questions on this, the process which I explained you? Okay, very nice, very nice. Everybody with me? Okay, great, great, very nice. Anish, Tarun. Okay, fine. So there are so many details over here, but at the moment, what is important for us? First thing, it says last login, right? Guys, this welcome screen which we saw, right, it has a lot of information. Take a time to go each and everything what things are over there for us. Important at the moment, everything is important over there. I'm telling you, take a time and read what is there, right? I know it has so many information, like what updates you have, documentation and blah blah, so many things. I mean, not blah blah blah, in important blah blah blah. Okay, so last login details, but we are not interested in this. We are interested in this one, right? When we log in very first time, we see like this screen, and here we have so many stuff, and each and every stuff has some meaning, right? So let's understand and why this is important. Because when you accessing a system, you must know what this information are, right? It should not be like that you have to you have to execute some command on the development server, and accidentally you access the server which is production one, and you executed the command over the production one, and you end up with screwing the things up. Okay, So that's why this is really, really important. Of course, this is advanced concept session, but still advanced concept also has some basic stuff, right? So very first thing, right, DSOC3, which is my, or which is your as a username. Second thing, which is your host name, where you are actually logging, right? Second, we have @. So @ is just a symbol. This user has logged in on this machine, so which basically separating your server name as well as your username. Okay, so how you read it? The SOC3 server is logged in at this server. Okay, my Ubuntu first installation. Today we are going to get rid of this one and we will be able to see the good name of this one server as well, right? Next, at the end, you see this tilde sign. This tilde sign means your home directory. So instead of saying /home/dsoc3, there is a tilde. So this is called tilde or tilde. Some people also say tilde or tilde, or as I say, in IT, nothing is wrong. Everything is correct until and unless you're referring the, I mean, you are talking to a person who understands, right? And where you find this on the, I think this keyboard, yeah, when you have this quadric keyboard below the scap, yeah, ESC, you will find this icon, right? So this is your home directory. Then we have colon, right? So colon also has a meaning. So here colon, it means we are just separating the home directory from the server name. That's why this is there. And this is your the dollar, right? This dollar, it's a prompt, right? So there are other prompt as well. So when you are logged in as a standard user, you can see the dollar sign, right? When you logged in as a root user, this will shows as a hash, right? So this is your prompt, and Linux has many other prompts as well, fine. So, and here we go, right? So sorry, if you see, so we have, there are four kind of what is happening. Yeah, so take a time. Most of important, when you log in as a standard user, this will go like this. When you log in as a root user, you will be able to see the hash. Okay, and how you will log in the SOC3 like this. So this will looks like this, and you have some other prompts as well, right? So this is summary. And next topic. So before I move forward, do you have any questions? No, everybody with me? Very simple, right? Wow, nice. So our next topic is, now we are logged in on the server. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Is my pronunciation is correct? Chisholm? Uh, you can unmute yourself if you wanna say, or maybe you type in chat. It's fine. Okay. Okay, you said no. Can you tell me what's your doubt? Because I don't want to move forward until we clear your doubt.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. No, I said I'm fine. I understood everything you've explained so far. Thank you.
Okay. You said no question. Okay, thank you very much. So, with that said, okay, now we are logged in on our server, right? And now it's similar when you log in on your system. So, very first thing, you go and open the File Explorer or Windows Explorer to access your files, right? So that's what we are doing right now. In last session, I told you only ls commands, but I did not tell you why do we have to use those. Okay, so here, very first thing, I will go a little bit faster, but if you have any questions, immediately raise thumbs up or raise your hand and ask me the question. If you won't raise, then I will understand, okay, everything is fine, you are getting everything. Of course, I'm going to ask you question as time comes. Okay, so very first command, which is ls is simple, list the content of your directory, which is similar to when you log in your system and you click on the your file explorer icon, right, which gives you all your information available in this. So by default, it is, of course, it's a desktop, and it says desktop documented all these files. If I want to see in reverse order, then I just use -r. Okay, so this -r is also called as an option. We already saw last time in our when we access the main pages, I told you how you can see this, but these are also called as a flag. Okay, and it has many flags as well. So let's see one by one. If I want to sort them according to time, right? So you can see, uh, so most recently when I took this, so before executing this command, I created this dsoc3 file, and before that I created this large file. Okay, so it gives me based on the time. Then I can sort things based on the size, right? So then, okay, this is my largest file in this directory. And where these are helpful, maybe you are doing some backup or cleaning up something, or maybe, yes, the disk is full and you want to move some file somewhere to another, and you receive some kind of notification, and in that notification you received, okay, because of the disk, or maybe disk space, right? Then you come to the directory. Of course we have tools, we don't do this way, but I'm just letting you know where you can use this, because when I studied, nobody told me what is the use case of this. Okay, that's why I'm telling you. That's why I said this is my knowledge, approx 20 years of using Linux. Here is my experience, so I'm combining, right? So this is one thing. Oh, so we have one more thing, I believe. No, then these things happen. Next thing, what this is important and why this is important, when you do like this ls dash l, then you are actually listing your content in long listing form, right? So now we have more information, right? So before it was just showing this name, but these are also showing this column, this column, this column, here and here, right? Everything has meaning. Now I use the h, right, which is human readable format. So before it was L, now it's with the H. So before, you can see in this, these are the size, actually the size of these things, right? Directory and files. But when I use H, now it makes me more sense. I can relate, instead of reading the things in the byte, it says, okay, kilobyte. And here, if you see the large file, which is of the size of 1 GB, right? So very helpful, human readable form. Then I sorted again as, right, and I could see. So that's why when I show you ls-s, it was showing me very first file was the large file. But okay, that's fine. I wanted to know how big this file is, so I can use l as well as human readable format, lhs altogether, right? And if I want to use this in a reverse time format, I can see, okay, like this. And this command I used a hell lot. How? When you are on the server, guys, this command is very simple, nothing in it, right? ls dash lrt, we know l means long listing, we know r means reverse, and t means time, so time order in the reverse. So when you are executing this command on the server, so you know, on your server you have thousands of files, okay, and when you executed one script and something happened in one of the directory, right, then you want to know where exactly the problem happened, what was the last file was created right before this error. You go to the directory, execute this command, ls dash lrt, very bottom. You don't have to scroll up the thousands line up and then go and see what file or what directory was created. On the same terminal, right before the end of the your this prompt, right, this one, you can see right about this you will be able to see what was the last command executed, or last sorry, not command, last file was created or directory was created, right? This is one of the use case. Second thing, suppose you want to executing this command, or maybe some of the pipeline, right, where you want to know what file or directory was created very end, very last, right? You cannot sit in front of the server and see, okay, when my pipelining is executing and creating this file, right? You have to do things automatically, and either you do not know what file name was created, because maybe the file name may be random or it could be anything. This command is helpful, right? Of course you will not use this in that way. I will show you more utilities how I execute. So simply you execute this command, you could maybe say reduce the number of output, and you can grab this one at the end. Okay, this file was created, and maybe this file creates have some kind of reports, let's say test cases executed and stored in this one. right? Whichever file executed last, and you can then notify the person or email this file to somebody, right? Very, very basic command, but very powerful. Okay, this is the summary of all this important command, right? This is how we actually execute these commands in production. All set so far? Just give me thumbs up, guys. If not, just put like this in chat quickly, guys. Very nice. Anish, Tarun. Okay. Oh wow. Thank you. Next topic. So now we have seen how we can see the files and directories. So next one is a very simple script I will share with you as well. And yep. So what basically this uh, shell script does, right? So it creates one file inside this one. And yeah, I think, yeah, I forgot, I missed this one. There is one one more option with the ls, which says recursively. And you now you see the what is the help, I mean, right, what is the use case where you can use it, right? Recursively, it means whichever directory or you provide as an argument to this command, it will go each and every directory and content the, I mean, list the content of each and every directory one by one. So let's say dsoc3 is my parent directory, I mean parent in terms of here, and inside this we have dsoc3 dir1, and inside this we have created this file1, and maybe you already got it, the coloring convention for directory is the blue and file is like this, right? And inside this dsoc3 directory 1 and dsoc3 directory 2 as well, and inside that we also have one of the file dsoc3 file 1, but we are interested in this which is created over here. So when this we execute this script, right, this file will be created over here, right? So let's see what happened next. Now we see how we can read the content of the file. So very basic command, very first command, which is cat, right? It has guys, for you I already put a summary, right? This is the syntax: cat, option, and file, right? So last time I showed you the cat command, so it says this is option, so you have to provide some kind of option, right? There are some or other options available with the cat command, but in this case we are specifically talking about reading a file. So I will, when we start Kubernetes, I will let you know why, what you can do more with the cat command, right? So when you do not have text editor, you can use cat file to put your content into the particular file along with the reading. So at the moment, just go, we are just going step by step, right? So very first command, when I have to cat, so this file we created inside dsoc3 dir1, dsoc3 dir1 file1, right? So simply I did the cat, and you can see I intentionally put some of the spaces, I mean blank line, right? So here two lines are over here, two lines are over here. So when you cat the file, so it cats out like this, so you see all the content on your screen, right? Then we have an option. So when you use your command, okay, like this, okay, so when you execute using -n option, then you can see it is giving you the commands, right? 3 and 4. I mean, not the command. I'm sorry about it. It's a live session and I'm not able to speak today. Anyways, so line number 3, 4, and 13 and 14, right? When you do like this, you will get all the blank line as a number as well, right? So line number 1, line number 2, these are the written by the script in the file itself. Okay, then we have -v. Okay, that gives you number only the non-blank lines, right? So it says 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and we do like this. Here, when you use -n, it gives you number to each and every line. When you use -b, then you can find a number of lines which are non-blank. Okay, why so? Because maybe, okay, let's talk about this in a while. We see some more options. Then we have s, which is basically squeezing the multiple adjacent blank line. So in this case, what happened, it combined the lines, right? Let's see. when I use this command with the -n option, right? That's why, because n represent it gives the number to each and every line. Okay, so what happened, it squeeze into two lines into one, and here 13 14, instead of it combine the line, both the line into one, right? So that's how you put the this commands, the flags all together, okay, and execute the command in that way. Additionally, we also have this one -a, right? So -a shows all the character including non-printable characters, right? Sometimes what happens, you copied somewhere, let's say, consider this, maybe if you realize, or maybe if you experience, when you copy your password and you paste somewhere, or maybe you copy some text from the internet or any of the pages, and when you paste it in your document, it doesn't go like that, right? Some other characters are also get copied along the way, right? So when on the on the Linux server, right, you don't have any such a GUI which shows you the formatting and all these things. So when you shows you this file, you don't remember, okay, whether you don't recognize whether here there are line number or what, right? So this was simply nothing, right? Let's say this file has some password. Usually we don't do password on the server, but just for as an example, and when you are calling the script to create a user, and all the password you put in this file, right? And this file contains all this kind of stuff. And when you share the password with the user, and user said, I'm not able to log in, and see, imagine you created 1000 users, so will you go to each and every user and reset the password? You can simply run this command and say what happened, whether any non-printing printable or some characters are already in the file, right? It's very easy, you can check by this command. So this is the, these are very simple thing but very powerful. Then, as I say, this command has shows you output on this screen, right? So we have more utilities by viewing the command, right? I personally don't use cat command to view the file, right? I use less, right? So less is also one of the, in next throughout the PPTs, I will show you how I use the less, more, and add and tell all these things. So I will not put more example over here, but just give you what less command does. Less does the same thing as the cat, except it gives you the, when you open your file using the this syntax, let's say less in this file, then you can scroll into the file, right? On our desktop we have mouse by which we can scroll up and down, but when you are actually accessing the physical server, right, there your mouse doesn't work. You only have option to work with the keyboard, right? So if you want to experience that, install operating system on physical laptop and you will realize what I'm talking about, but not with the GUI, only with the, of course, you can also go to the this terminal without GUI. But anyways, back to the point. So when you say like this, less and the file name, and that's on the screen, you will see all the content and you can scroll up and down, right? You can also use enter command to move on, right? Next, we have the more command. More command also does the same thing, but what is the basic difference in both? Less give you the ability to scroll line by line. More give you, when you open the file using more, then you see the page by page. When you hit enter, then it will show you the next page, right? It's similar when you have word file of 100 pages. So less command gives you the ability to scroll slowly, right? While more command gives you the facility, right? When you use, or when you hit enter, or maybe you use the down arrow key or up arrow key, so it will scroll page by page. Remember, less is for, less give you the navigation line by line, more give you the navigation page by page, right? When you have so many pages, so you don't want to scroll line by line, right? You directly go to, let's say, jump to the page number 4. But in real life we really don't do this. We have more things to do but using this command, right? Next, we have head command. So when you use head, this file name, it will give you by default first 10 characters, or sorry, not characters, first 10 lines of the your file, right? Top one. Okay, that's why it says first part of the files. And in first part, it will give you the first 10 lines, right? Same we have tell command, right? It gives you the last part of the file. By default, it will give you the last 10 lines of the file. Where you use it, of course I'm going to show you, but tell command is basically used when let's say the some files are getting recorded on the system and you want to monitor, want to see what is happening. Okay, and whenever you put in the file any content, it will go always at the end, not go always at the top until and unless you specify, and you want to monitor. So what you can do, you can say tell dash f, this option, okay, and the file name. So on the screen you will be able to see the content as well, right? Then again, here is the summary. We talk about the cat will show you the output on the screen right away. Less will give you the ability to reading the files line by line, more will give you the ability to read the file page by page, right? So I'm saying page by page, it means when you hit enter, it will scroll one page up or one page down when you use up and down arrow key, right? Head and tail. Head is, remember, head. Tail, it means the bottom part. That's it. Very simple, right? Any questions, guys, on this? Quick reaction. Very good. Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. Next topic. So now we have seen how we can read the content from the file. So first we saw how we can see the content or list the content, right? So we use some other commands. After that we see, okay, now we can list. Now we're more interested into the read the files. Then we see all these commands for reading the file. Now next step, why not to edit the file, right? Then we got view editing. So this is our, of course, main topic. I mean, in this one, viewing and editing. So far whatever we discuss is a part of viewing. Now we are going into the editing part, right? And of course Vim is one of the powerful, or I would say very powerful, right, text editor in the on the Linux. Before Vim there was a vi editor, which is by default still available on the many system, right? But Vim is the same but improved on the Vim, so that's why it's Vim. But since when I started, I still remember I started with Ubuntu version, I think 7 or 8, I believe, yeah, 8.04, right, which is maybe long back. But I didn't start with the Ubuntu, honestly. I start with the Red Hat system, RHEL, and that was the RHEL 5. Now we have, I think, 9 or 10 is there. I don't remember exactly which one is stable, but yes, yes. So it's very long time, and since then I'm seeing VM is as one of the editor, right? And this is powerful and widely acceptable. So for example, if you give the Kubernetes exam, you will get this kind of editor, right, to edit the files on the exams on the remote server, right? Even in if you give the Red Hat exams, you have this one. You don't find the other kind of editor on this, because you have to remotely access the server and start doing the things, right? So that is there. So okay, enough about this, the Vim. Okay, let me go ahead. So as usual, everywhere you find, I mean, of course there are so many things that's very powerful, but I will let you know what is really necessary at the moment. So for that we have first thing, which is over here. So I will show you the modes. uh I mean, again, I thought to skip this topic, but then those who are really expert, and they say, okay, why didn't you explain the mode, right? So these things will make sense in a I think 4 5 slides later. Okay, so these are the modes, right? Why I'm saying I'm laughing, because this is already confusing topic, and this is the topic took me around 3 4 days to put my idea into this diagram, right? So at the end, when you like it means when I showed you all the diagrams of this VIM, and it gets you the concept. Give me a thumbs up, guys. here. Okay, so very first mode, it's a normal mode. Okay, and what is normal mode? So just remember, these are the terms. Somebody says, okay, you are editing file, it says, okay, go to the normal mode, then what will you do? You don't know, right? So that's why the normal mode, where you start basically, right? When on the terminal you execute this command vim after installing the vim. I also tell you, the vim is not the default editor on your ubuntu, right? You have to install this, and how you will install, I will let you know later, right? So that is not the default um, file editor. Okay, so you also, I will also show you how you can make you change your default editor, because nano is the default editor in ubuntu. It is also very people like it. I won't say I don't like it, but I didn't learn that. Okay, so I don't use that, but that is also one of, but I found vim is more, many places, many people use that. Okay, so we are in normal mode. How we enter into the normal mode? So normal mode, on the terminal you executed the command vim, you open like this, you get, not open like this, you get this screen, right, which says vi improved. That is the vim, right over here. This is the version, this one who created by whom, and there are so many information, right? Then from normal mode you have to press I to go into the insert mode. So insert mode, basically, you, when you want to write or edit or manipulate the file, you need to go, right? So similarly, like on your word document, when you click somewhere, I mean, by default when you open it, give you the cursor, right, blink. But here on the terminal, it is not like that. When you open, it's, you have to press I to go into the insert mode, right? And as soon as you press I here, before there was nothing, right? As soon as you click I, you get this option insert. So it means you are in the insert mode, right? And when you, from insert mode, when you press escape, then again you will go back to the normal mode and you cannot see anything over here. When here there is nothing, it means you are in the normal mode. Okay, next you have another mode, which is visual mode. So it's similar to like you drag and drop and select multiple lines, right, to delete or edit or whatever. Similarly, vim also have the option, when you press v, then with the scroll key hotkeys, not hotkeys, scroll key up and down, you can select, right? So v is visual mode, selecting multiple lines and performing many operations on top of that. So this is visual mode. You will see like this what happened at the bottom, and in especially vim editor, this screen will go like this blank. Okay, we will also see how it will looks in the file. When you press escape again, you, this visual mode gone, and you back land back into the normal mode. So basically these are same, that's why I put the same color, right? But just to show you the concept what happened over here. Then command mode. So when you are in normal mode, you see the normal mode. From normal mode, when you put colon, right, then it sees like this. So it means you are into the command mode. So when you are into the command mode, right, and again when you press escape, then you come out from this, right? So let's say, what is the command mode? That we just saw how to exit from the command mode, right? So here you are at command mode, and in this, if you see, it says type q to enter to, I mean, type q, and in this says enter to exit. So let's type this over here, right? So I already put a colon, right, to enter into the command mode. Then I type q, then I press enter, and again now I'm exit from the sorry, vim editor. Fine. Then this is the summary of, right, you are always start over here and you always return in this, right? And you can move around, insert, visual, and the command line mode. Fine so far, everybody? Good, good. So now let's see how this is being used in the file, right? So you can see I do not have this file at the moment. I showed you the one of the command was the touch, which creates the empty file. Of course, using the vim you can also create an empty file, but Here I do not have this file. I just say vim and the file name, right? And when I hit enter, then file is open like this. It means I'm at normal mode. I told you, when you open not even the editor, even the file, you always land into the normal mode, right? We can confirm there is nothing over here. Then I press I, get into the insert mode, right? Then it is changed to insert here, right? Then I put my comment. This is dsoc3 vimdemo.txt file, right? I'm done editing. Then what I will do, I'll press escape button, right? Then now it was before insert mode, right? Now I am in normal mode, so that's why it's not showing any of the things over here. Now what happened, I have to save the file, right? So to write something, right, that's why it says command mode. So first you have to press escape. That's this colon. Colon is usually about shift, and I don't know, my keyboard is different. Okay, and once you are in there, then when you type colon, you can see like this over here, right? Then you have three options. I mean, three things you have to do, right? W, Q, and this exclamation mark or bang mark, right? So W means always write. Write means save in terms of VI editor, Vim editor, not VI. Sorry about that. So when you want to save, so you type colon W, and after, right after that, if you hit enter, you will not get exit from the file. Your content saved in the file, right? Once you are done with your editing stuff, then you said, okay, now I want to save, or I also want to quit. Okay, this also works along as well. We saw already when we do the Q option, it gets out from the this file. Okay, but I, in a one go, I want to save as well as I want to quit from the file as well. And this exclamation, this bang sign, it means I'm asking to do it forcefully, right? Sometimes it happens, many people are using the file, okay, and your file got stuck. You maybe realize with the word, I also experienced the same thing, right? When you open multiple instance of the same file, right? So save it. W means save, Q means quit, and bang, it means forcefully do as I am telling you, right? Or I'm instructing you. Then we will do like this, and then you have to hit enter. And once you hit enter, you exit from the file. And when you see, we know the dash t, means it will give you the file according to time, and that's why it says right after that. So I created this file, and right after that I executed this command, and it gives me this one, right? So this is the overall process how you use Vim for your file editing. So guys, that took me a lot of time actually to put my concept into this, and you will not find this any kind of diagram on the internet. Do you really, I would not say the like the things, do you really understand the concept which I showed you over here, how Vim works? What are the modes of the Vim? Everybody give me a quick reaction. Thank you, Anish. Thank you, Kamlesh. What about rest? Thank you to Manuel. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, okay, Manuel. Thank you very much. This is the appreciation, I would say. This gives me the boost. Okay. I'm delivering something. Otherwise, I think, okay, the camera is turned off and everybody is sleeping behind the camera. Okay, I'm just kidding, guys. No problem. Again, this is the summary, right? For you, this is cheat sheet only used when you understand everything. Okay, I thought to put this as well, and I mean not to share with you, but it is necessary, right? When you know everything, then you have something where you can refer back. Okay, so this is the summary what we have seen so far. Very simple stuff, nothing crazy, right? Normal mode, insert mode, command mode, visual mode. That's it, nothing else, right? So guys, we have done editing the file. Now it's time to go ahead and see the user permissions. So now files are there on our server, right? Now we have to see what files access can be accessed by which user. So that leads us to kind of topic where we have to look into how users and group management works, right? Again, guys, this is not the Linux administration session. This is more focused on, as a DevOps engineer, what you need to do or what you need to aware about, right? This is not your task to add the user onto the Linux server. That is job, or that is part of the Linux administrators. Okay, but when you do the containerization, you know what user means actually, because you are not going to, maybe sometimes you have to move around, execute some commands as a root user, then switch back to as a normal user. So you don't know what exactly the user um, creation, no, I will not say the creation, the configuration, right? Then it will be hard for us later on. I'm not saying you won't learn, of course, then you learn in a hard way. And as I promised, it's my responsibility to prepare you for prepare our foundation for when before we go to the actual things, right? So that's why this topic I put over here. Here we will learn three things. First thing, user add, user delete, and user mode. So nothing special, right? So when you have to add the user on the server, right, you use the user add command, right? Always on the server, right? Only administrator doesn't access this. So as a DevOps engineer, you configure the server and now everything is there and files are there. And now you want to add or onboard more people on that. And who are the more people? Developer, QA, right? Operations team. So those are the teams usually DevOps work with. Okay. So we have to add some of the user. So this is different one here. If I see, I told you when we have slash directory, when we talk about the directory, I told you each and every user's directory will be put inside the slash user, slash home, not slash user. So slash home under this. So that's why I executed very first command to show you, okay, what happened. So at the moment on my this server, I have DSOC3. Of course, there is a root user, but we know in our file directory structure, root is a separate home directory for the root, which is under the slash root, which is not under the slash home, right? So very first thing, then I told you I will show you the tail command, how to use this. So as I said, tail command, so it shows the bottom part of the file, but we also have option, and I'm not interested to see last 10 lines, only I'm interested to see in last 2 lines of the file, because this file is very big, when you very long, not the big. So when you open, okay, when you go back after this session and open your system, just do the tell or less slash etc passwd. It will give you, I think, 56 or 26. We will see this maybe later. I'll put somewhere how many lines are there, right? But tell, and in this tell command, I said, okay, I want to see only last 2 lines. And in this, we will also talk about these files, what these files are. But here we have the user details. So I have user DSOC3 and SSH, which we installed right now, right before, right? And here, then what I've done, I've done sudo, why not this one, right? So sudo user add. So I have added on, I want to onboard developer one, so I just give it a dev1. Okay, don't confuse this with the slash dev directory, right? This is our user dev1 developer one. Then what happened, instead of saying 2 lines, I said, okay, now I want to see only 3 lines, because I know, and I told you, whenever you add into the file, it will only go into the end of the line, right? So I know before it there was a 3 line. I said, okay, now show me last 3 lines of this file, right? And now what happened, we got dev user 1, right? And then what happened, again I executed this command, and but what happened, the user directory was not created. Did I make any mistake? Okay, let's see once again. So here the same thing happened. User is there, home directory is not created. So that's why we have an option -m, right? when you are creating a user, right, and you use -m, it means you are asking the command to create a home directory for the user. Because why it's so? Because already maybe in real life, basically you really don't manage the users, you manage the groups, and that user, developer user, not is going to store their own files because it's a server and we want them to only use for the work. So maybe you say, okay, this developer user should be, its home directory is already shared home directory, right? So it should be accessed only that particular directory. So but here in this case we want the user, right, developer, to have their own home directory. It feels good, right? You have your own space where you can put your own stuff, right? It should not be like feel left over, right? It should be feel like, yeah, I'm a part of the team. So we are that kind of mindset. We said, okay, developer, we will give you, no offense to my developers friends, okay, we will give you one directory. And when I say -m, then what happened? I again come over here. Now we have one more user, one more file. I said tell -n means give me the last 4 line of this file, right? And right after that, if you come over here on this screen, you can see in this line, right, we have the same thing, right? But if now I see and go the home, then I can find the dev. So the home directory was created for this our developer, right? Next, in this, what happened? Yep. Next thing. Okay. So like when we again, I reduce down the this one, we have QA2, QA1, and the dev, these 3 users. So in what's common in this, if you see, like bin sh, bin sh, bin sh. So by default on Ubuntu you have sh shell. So these are just kind of a different kind of shell, right? Sh is one of the shell. So bash is also one of the shell, c is also one of the shell, con is also one of the shell. So let's not go into that, just consider shell is what you are, where you are executing this command, right? So it's just for understanding, consider it's one, I mean, I don't take it literally. So one is your iPhone, one is your Android, and maybe one is one maybe Windows phone, right? But all does the same job, right? You want to call, so by all the phones you can call, right? If you want to access any application, you can access application, right? Slightly different, but all 3 kind of mobiles, right? Different, based on the different platform, but they does the same thing, right? Right? So maybe, I don't know, just came up in my mind, I give you. So we will talk about the shell in more detail, but that is more related or more relevant for when we start the shell scripting, because here it doesn't make any sense. So for us, shell, it means, just consider is this is a black screen, right? And now at the moment we introduce first by the sh, right? This time, I personally prefer bash, right? In my system, even on Mac as well, I use bash, right? ZSS is also one of the another shell, fine. So I wanted to assign this user, okay? So in this now I wanted to assign a user to execute a bin bash, or maybe you consider, let's say a user has to assign only some particular command, right? Maybe C related command. So you can assign by that particular user a particular shell that user can access and do their own work, right? So in this case, what I have done, I said, okay, let's go ahead over here, and here, yeah, here. So in this, I'm adding one more user, QA, and this time I'm assigning this user a bash shell, as well as I'm also telling the utility to also assign provide or create a home directory. So once you execute, you can see here the home directory was created with the name of QA, right? And when I go to this file, passwd, right, /etc, which is a user information is available. So we can see this bin slash is there, which is not identical or similar to what we have for the dev user, QA1 user, or QA2 user. Okay, everything is like this. Additionally, why I showed you this command. So as I said, in Ubuntu, it's a default is the sh, because this happened with me when before I used to work with the Linux system, and when I moved towards DevOps and start working with the containerization, and I was following my own syntax which I learned in the bash, and then I realized, oh god, we are in a mess because of the shell. Then I use this thing to change my shell, and in that shell I'm executing my own scripts, right? So that's why I'm telling you sh and bash has slightly different syntax when you do the automation by the scripting. Okay, make sense? Again, this one, we have to see the what happened. I mean, what I have done over here. One moment. Okay, kidding. So in this example, we have option where we can choose where the user, we have some particular home directory. Like I said, okay, some for some of my project, I mean, apart from my development friend, I also have some external developers with me, right? And we don't want them to be access our data, right? Or they put their own data, personal data on the server. So that's why their job is to, okay guys, come log in and do your work and go back. You're external. No hard feelings, but this is usually happen, right? Or another use case, when you have something on the commonly on the server, right? So you don't want them to put their own stuff on the server, because server you have terabyte of hard drive, right? And everybody's putting their videos and all these things because they don't have a space on their own system, right? You don't want that. So in that case, what happens, you create one dedicated directory, right? And that dedicated directory you gave a name in after your project. So in that kind of scenario, you have to add a custom home directory of the user, right? So here, if I come again, ls-t, according to time, I do not have any of the directory over here. Then again, I go over here, tell, and I said, give me last 4 lines of from this file, right? Then it gives me, I do not have even the user over here. Okay, we have this one. So in this line, I said sudo user add. We know dash m. Why do we have dash m, right? Why do we have dash m? Can anybody quickly write in the chat? Why do we have dash m? Anyone? Let's see how many of you have. Here we are having dash m option. Just forget about everything. Why do we have dash m option? Anyone? Come on, guys. Good turn. No ways. See, guys. I mean, it's really normal, right? Here the tons of information, right? It's possible. So no worries. That's why I'm asking you, because now you will remember, right? When I again tell you, you will remember why this option, and that's why I'm repeating again and again, right? So and where we want to create a home directory, right? If you don't use this, if you directly use this d, of course user will be created but directory won't, right? Let's come on this one. So the m is the option. Okay, that's why I put you the summary. Where is the summary? Let's see if I also remember or not. Create users home directory, right? D specify the custom home directory. S specify the user shell login shell, which we already saw. G is to add the user in particular group, right? So where we were, that was the very big long example. I don't remember which. One second. Yep, over here, this one, right? So I'm at this one. So what I'm doing, I'm saying dash m. Okay, then I'm saying dash d. It means the custom home directory, and this custom home directory will be created in slash, right? Slash or slash directory. I mean the top level directory, or under the slash custom home directory for qa1 user, and we are saying qa1, right? We are adding a user one, I mean user qa1. Then what happened, you get this kind of warnings. That's fine, no such files or directory. And that's completely fine. It's okay, right? User got created on this. When you do this, user will definitely create it with this one. Okay, so ignore this one. These are warnings. And when you run this command sudo, and we added actually another user as well, right? qa2 user. And then we said, okay, tell last 5 lines of this file. Okay, we are interested on the last 5 lines, so that's why I use tell, right? So here I could see qa1 is there, qa2 is there. And now, we already learned the -r option, which is recursive option. Okay, so when I did like this, you can see under this one for. So here I already said /custom home directory for. So up to here is the common for both, and inside this qa1 user and qa2 user, regardless it says failed, right? Remember, okay, these kind of things you maybe you ask, maybe this kind of question ask you in your interviews. Okay. And here again it says permission denied. Of course, permission denied. Okay, so that will make sense in a while, but just consider this is acceptable. Okay, and when I come over here slash, what happened? Somewhere I would be able to see the directory slash, under the slash custom home dir, which one is the parent, and I mean right after the or under the slash. So that's why we have this over here, right? Next we have option user mode. Okay, before that, we talk about this topic. Do you have any questions, guys? If you have any questions, just put thumbs down. No, just give me thumbs up. Or are you with me so far? Thank you, Anish. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Tarun. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Tarun. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Okay. Thank you, Mayank. Thanks. Okay, so let's continue our topic. When you need a break, let me know. Otherwise, I will be keep on speaking a lot of things, right? So this one is our user mode, right? So once we added a user, so it's natural, right? When we initially plan and things didn't work out, then we need to do some modification, right? So that's why we have command user mode, which is basically modifying the user's attributes or the user's things. What can be possible, right? So you have option -l, which is to change the username. Again, we have the same option D, right? When the external user gone, and now company decided to hire some or internal one, and they hire on the same position. And as a network, I mean, as a Linux administrator, I don't want to create a new directory and copy paste all the directories for the new user. Instead, what I will do, I will create a new user and assign that particular directory which was being used by the external user to the new one, right? So in that case, I need some modification mechanism. I could use this. I can, again, I have a login shell. So before, now the job was done, again I want to revoke the access of that particular user. I could do this, right? This is not only for the assigning particular shell, it is also helpful like when you don't want any user to log in onto the server. So for example, email server, right? When you access the email server, you don't access actually file, you only access the emails from your server, right? So in that case, you don't need to log in, right? So in that case, you assign no login or no shell, no login shell. Read about it more. It's not the administration, but I want to let you know. That's why. Additionally, you also have this option -g, which was also before, but you got one more option, -ag, right? So I'm not showing you right away this way, so I'm saving this option for something else. But remember, when you want to change the supplementary group, okay, always this command is used like this. Okay, -a, capital G, uppercase letter G. If you don't use -a option, which is basically append, so what happened, user will lose its own primary group. I didn't explain you, but we are coming on that shortly. Okay, so always if you want to use -a and g. Okay, this is again the interview question. So of course your interview will not ask you the command. They give you kind of scenario. Okay, you have to add this user to this group. What will you do? They didn't tell you specifically they want to remove the user from its existing group, right? They said, okay, the question might be like this: add user to this group, what will you do? Right? I mean, these questions are twisty. That's why I'm telling you. Now what happened? Uh, so again, the same thing, had here. This time I'm using the had, right? And we know had command is gives you the always top part of the file, and inside that I only want first one, I mean first line. So that's why you could see the user right here. What happened? In the same file I have a root user, and which has root and its other details we are going to discuss in a while. And I also use tell number 7. So give me command tell, give me last 7 lines from this particular file. Okay, that it gives me all those details from this. So first this one, then this one, right? Then here what happened? If I want to, so first we are looking into the renaming of the user, that is -l option, right? Then I said, okay, sudo user mod l ops. Okay, so this qa2, so I want to, like here I said in qa2 I want to change this, right, to ops. So what I could do, I could execute this command. Guys, always whenever you are modifying, this is really confusing. So I'm giving you very simple tips to remember how this works. When you are executing user command, right? So the actual user, the operations you are performing on the user will always come at the end. No need to remember, no need to mug up the syntax. Very simple. Sudo, we are modifying, we know user mode, right? So these things are developed by the people, they really need it. So they put in very simple, convenient way. User mode, user modified. We know -l, right? So last one, we are modifying qa2 into ops, right? So always remember, you are applying the operations on that will come always at the end. Simple. Here, whatever you want to do, this will be changed, or this will vary time to time. Then again, I have to provide my password. I provided, and when I go over here, this time again I put this, I want to see last 7 lines. And now what? This was the qa2 over here, right? And I had the qa below that, but now it qa moves up because this is renamed. This is the modification done, right? So always see the modification comes at the end, right? If you want to see any of the file what happened, open the file, directly go at the end, you will see the changes default, right? So here what happened, ops, before it was qa2. So we do not have qa2 user anymore, or no longer is there part of this, right? -l option to modify the user. Next, here I open the file, right? Then what happened, ops2, right? Then ops2, what happened with the ops2? If you see, it's a home directory, it's a still custom home directory, and it says qa2 user. I don't want, and I know that we have option -d, right? Because I want the users use the same privilege, but I don't want this ops user to use this custom home directory, because here this is more relevant to from the quality assurance team, or maybe from the testing teams, right? So that's why what I have done, I say, okay, I have option, and now I said, okay, -d/home ops, and as I said, always the user will come on which you are performing the operation at the end. So that's why we have this ops at the end, and we want to change the home directory. And as soon as you have execute this command, again use the tell command, and you know the home directory got changed. Before it was custom home directory. Yeah, for qa2 user, now ops has its own home directory. This is option D. Next, we have saw this, right? Now what happened? This one, this one, this one. So here again the same thing. Which user? It's a QA1. So QA1 has the here we have ops user, which has a SSL, here SH cell shell, and here is the home directory. So now what happened here? QA1 user, right? What I'm gonna do, I'm using all the options which I told you to modifying this. So basically in this command, what I'm going to do, I'm using user mode, renaming, okay, and renaming to whom, I mean all these operations is going to perform on this QA1 user. Remember, QA1 user, this is one trick. Second trick, always whenever you use these options, right, so /l, it means you are going to rename. So right after that, put always the new name of the user, okay, what you are gonna rename this. So we are going to rename QA, so /l, and maybe now so far you already noticed this, instead of DevOps it got DevSop. I realize it's very late, so that's completely fine, but we can again rename it when we want, right? We know the command. So now it's no more DevOps user, it's a DevSop user, and we don't have that any, right? So, and what I'm doing, I'm giving M option to create a home directory, and which should be the custom one, okay. And again I did the same thing, home dev sop, and I'm also asking this command, okay, I also want to change it's a shell bin asset. So at the moment here if we go, QA1 has this one custom home directory and this one, and this is the name. So when I execute, now again I go to the tell, I mean I did tell to this file, and now you can see dev sop is my user, and home directory is this one and this one. So this is how you actually use all the options in one go. You are not gonna do one at a time, okay. But here the trick or the important point is, whatever flag is you are using, just after that use the it's a parameter or it's a argument, because right after that we know creating a home directory and custom home directory. So if you don't give a custom home directory over here, maybe you put something over here, then it will throw kind of error because it is looking for something, right? That's why remember, whenever you use these flags or these options, provide its argument right after that. This is the trick. Nothing important, nothing crazy. I hope everybody got with me so far. Okay, so here we have option user delete, right? So it's very simple command, right? User del, right? And of course it has the important option, which is R. You must know why this, you know, because you are executing some command or in your pipeline you need a temporary user, you are creating a user, and right after that you want to remove the user, right? So when you create a user, might be possible you have some data inside for that particular user and you don't want that data. So in that case you need to delete the directory. So here one option, when you use this one, it means this will delete your user as well as the data of the user, okay. Then this one again the same thing in this file, then I could see, and which user I'm gonna delete, dev user, right? My developer user, he is leaving and his data is no longer useful to the company, right? So I have to delete everything if I don't want to remove. Usually when you do it on the as an Linux administrator, you don't use recursive R option because you keep the data on the server for maybe um, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, because it might be possible there are so many information things in the particular directory that might be needed. And when companies sure, okay, we don't want at all, so maybe 2 3 4 years after that, yeah, depends, right? But I never use this R command, especially for particular user. We always save the directory of the user, maybe 2 3 up to 3 or 4 years up to, in my experience. Then yes, we remove, and we do not have any more this dev directory, right? I could also see in this directory before we have this dev user 1002 number, right? And here we do not have any, right? Very simple command. nothing special. Now guys, it's the time to introduce with the some of the files, right? We have been talking, or you have been listening to me referring this file again and again and again and many times, right? So this is the /etc passwd. So you know this is in the /etc file. So of course it's a configuration file, right? And what is this? It says passwd. So it's all user related information you will find over here. In this you could see these are total 7 fields which are colon separated. Okay, there is a colon in between. Let's see what we have. First field, which says the username, right? Second field, which is representing like X, okay, which is your password. So when it says X, it means your password is somewhere else. Where? So there is another file /etc/shadow. So historically, passwd files were used to store your password over here, but to enhance the security, of course, Linux is more secure. To, to enhance more security, they move this password thing to /shadow file. So you will find in /etc shadow, right? And then this is the UID. In my all example, whenever all the times we access, you could see the 1000, 122, 1011 and 1054 and all these things, right? This is user ID. Linux always use the user ID. That's why we can rechange or rename the user, right? So when you rename, then ID is not gonna change, right? The same ID is assigned to some other user. Always remember, Linux use the ID. It doesn't rely on the username, right? Then you have group ID as well. So when you create any user, let's say this one, here 1004, we can see ops user. So it has UID same as this UID GID as well. So when you create any user, so by default, it's a UID is similar to it's a group ID. So UID means user ID, GID means the group ID, right? And both are same, and this value represent the primary group. That's why I said if you are adding a user to some other group, always use -a as a append and -g as a adding into the supplementary group, right? Then it says it gives you the more information, right? So when you are logging and if you are following my tutorial or my steps, then you may be seeing the same screen, or I also showed you when on the login screen you got this information why first Ubuntu installation instead of the username, right? Now I showed you vim editor. Open this file and remove this file. Make sure both the colon will not delete it, and then reboot. You will able to see your own username on the screen. Okay, then we have next one is the home directory. That's what we have been talking since long. And the last one is the shell, right? Very simple, 7 fields, nothing important, right? So always remember these things, how this happened. I already explained you all these users and groups. Okay, shell I already told you. So UID and GID. So it means when they both are the same, it means the users like 1000, it means it's a primary user of the its own group. Fine. And additionally, whenever any user is created, by default these values are assigned to the user. And you see during the installation we created this of 3 user, so it has given a number 1000, right? And after that 1001, then I have deleted 1002, then we have 1000, 1003, then we have 1004, 1005, and same number with it. Means all the users which you are creating after very first user, which is non-standard user, you can simply see on these values and you can see, okay, in which order this user was created, right? So 1000 is the first order, 1001 is the next was created, then the 5 and 4 and all these things. So maybe DevOps is joined over here right now, DevSop. But by which I can see, okay, 1003. So, and 1000 was user were created long back, and now it's a 1003. So it means I can immediately think, okay, this is the older user was created, it was just renamed to the new user. That's it, right? So these are the information. And yes, this is a shadow file. I already did this. There are 9 fields which are colon separated. Of course, it's a security topic, and I will not go into the details, and which are also not related, but just to give you how it looks like. So there are total 9 fields, right? And especially here, this one. Okay. And if you say this bang icon, it means the password is not set. And for this user, you say the very long string, it means the password has been set for this user. So I have created this user, but I didn't set a password for that, and that's why it says this bang icon. Okay, then it's the same thing which I explained you. And yes, next thing is /etc group, right? In this, the same thing, like we have passwd. So very first is the group name, second x is says password. You can also set the password for group, right? Then the group id and the group list, right? When you have more users, so we know it's a DSOC user, it's, I told you, it's a primary group of this user, right? When you create another group for particular, maybe let's say development group or QA group, or maybe something else, right? Maybe operations, or maybe DevOps engineers, or maybe scripting, or maybe automation, or something like that, right? So every group has its own unique number. So it's a primary group, and when I add more user into this group, this will shows over here. That's why it's at the moment it's a blank, because this DSOC group does not have any other user apart from his on. So that's why it's showing the 1000, right? And yes, this is your the ranges. Just take a time to read about this. What is this? What just happened? Okay, here the important for you, 1000, right? 1000 is for the non root users. Okay, and 0 is always reserved for the root. Okay, always remember these two things. Rest, if you don't remember, no problem. And how you can see all this, so I write this command. You could see I use over here head. Basically I also use awk is kind of utility, so let's not go into over here. I showed you the head. Here I also use the head, right? So I did the combination of all these things, and I said, okay, give me the which are the users which we have already. So we have all this range users. So 0, of course, it's my root user, which is in the /etc passwd file. And I also have uid 1, what is this, 199, right? So it is daemon user. And similarly, I also have this 1000, right? And you can see there is a user nobody, and which number is above 1000, 65,534, right? So maybe it's a 16-bit. Okay, not go into that. Nobody, no, non-existence, and user has been no login, right? So this user cannot log into the server, but you need something to users and perform some kind of things that can be again customizable. But we know this user 1000, 1000, my first ubuntu installation, home directory is over here, my, and you see my bash. As I said, I like to work with the bash, so I have changed my shell to like this, right? Guys, I will share with you the script which I mean this back command in a script format, and here you can see all the users over here, right? So this is the looks very better, right? And which gives me this out. We have more scripts like this in following things. So let me quickly finish the group one, then we are going to take a break. Deal? Okay, deal. So similar to users, we also have group one, right? And again, is similarly /etc passwd. So we also have group file where we can find the group. And here I have added one group, sudo group add DevOps. This time it's a correct spell, DevOps, right? And thank God. And again, if I go to the directory, and I told you new entry will always go at the end. That's why I use tell. If something going top of the file, I will use head. So now you know how, where to use tell and where to use head, right? Then important thing, 1006, right? And you can also see some of the groups are still there. We rename we do not have the users, right? So let's see what do we have. Then we have the similarly user mode. Similarly, we have group mode, right? So same thing again. Now I use the tel, and I did some sorting kind of in by the numbering, right? So here, if you see the users, and here the number 1001, 3 already, 2 already deleted. So 1, 3, 4, and 5. And but here, if you see, yep, all this place, leave about it. Now just 1004 and 1004, but it says 1004 is a ops, right? Here it's a QA. So we rename the user, but we didn't rename the group. So always remember, when you rename the user, it is not gonna rename the group itself, though its IDs are same. Okay, that's why Linux rely on the ID. It doesn't trust any human like us because we are crazy. Not you, I'm crazy. Okay, I take it on me. Okay, so we do I do this kind of stuff, and I change rename, and maybe I forgot, but because the numberings are same, the permissions you applied, it is not gonna impact at all. Okay, and what I have done, as I told you, I didn't change the password. So here another command, sudo switch user, su for switch user, and if you give the any of the username, not only ops, it won't ask you the password, because we don't have password for ops user, right? But we have privileges of the root user. So I can execute this command, sudo su ops, and id is another command by which I can check the group of the user. So you could see user ID 1004, GID 1004, groups 1004 strip, but it does not says here the 1004 group as a QA, sorry, ops, right? It should be looks like ops. I won't like in that way. So I have option group mode. I perform the command, right? What command I perform? Group mode, and I know /n ops, and here where I'm performing the same convention like user. Always you're performing modifying this group, and you are giving the new name. So always put it at the end. And now again I did the same thing. It says ops, everything has changed. Before it was something different. Over here it's a QA2, but now I have changed it. But you again notice the IDs are still the same. So for our convention, our convenience, we have changed this to the name of all these things. Okay, but IDs are still over there. And here we have another option, right? In that, what we have done, as I said, we have just adding additional users into the group, right? So at the moment, you could see I was telling about this one. It's a group list field, right? So what I've done over here, I have added this two user, DevSwap and QA. In which group? DevOps group. And it's a user mode command, it's not group mode command, right? Basically it happens in other way. You modify the users and you use the user, and I told you whatever operation you are performing, that always goes at the end. So that's why here we are performing modifying the user group of dev. So if you don't use dash a, it the DevSop user will lose its a primary group, right? So always remember, that's why they used in a conjunction dash a DevOps QA. And now when I execute this command, and I have the more users in this group, right? This is the one. Then I have delete option similar to user add user like this. So again, I did the same thing. And now this time I want to delete the DevOps group. I did with this. And if you see here we have, and here we also have what 1000 QA and all these things, right? And then what happened? I have deleted, perform this command right here. Uh, one second. Yes, here sudo group delete DevOps, right? And after that, this group is gone. You can confirm over here. And when you come back again and check, you will no longer see the additional or supplement group. So supplement groups you will find over here. This field always gives you the primary group details. Okay, so yep, this is the summary what I have told you so far. One quick more thing, then we'll take a break. This is the command. I already told you ID. These are the user information command, right? When you execute like this, so I have done for this my user. You could see my primary group is 1000, but I'm sorry here, but I also have additional groups, and which are adm cd-rom sudo, so 27, right? I also told you there is a limit of 1 to, I think, 99, right? So this comes under this one. This is a sudo. That's why I'm able to execute this command. So this is interview question. They maybe ask you, okay, do you want to perform some kind of task, okay, to install any app? So which command will you use to check the privileges? So, and you do not have access to the etc or going to some other user directory files, okay? So you can quickly see whether you are part of sudo or not. So by this command, very handy. You have other command as well, which displays who is logged in on the server. Simple, execute the command who. It will give you all this, okay? Where these are important, for example, the server is compromised, right? And you want to, not compromised, don't use this word, I hope no server compromised. You want to see, okay, how many users, so maybe you get a lot of load, right? Or maybe one user says, okay, I'm not able to access the things, I want to do something. So by which you can see, okay, this user is logged in, and you know the, okay, let's say this is the DSOC 10 user, okay? So you can immediately see the session, you can revoke the session, kill the session, then user will able to again log in. So this kind of utility for that. This shows the logged in on the user and their activity. When you execute this command, okay, w, so it will also gives you what they are doing on the system. So I'm logged in from this IP and I'm doing the SSH. I'm using, this is my activity, what I'm doing on the server after login. So I was using SSH, right? Because I have logged in using the SSH. So I was using this service SSHD. And the last one, okay, the last one is also the command name itself, last, okay, and it shows the last logged in user. So guys, I didn't execute the command for this, so I leave this for you because it gives a lot of information. That's why first, when you execute this command, first execute this one last, then use this pipe symbol, right, which is, I think, your right side shift and next to enter in between vertical line, which is called as a pipe. It means it is taking output from this and using the less command. And now we know, we already learned the less command. Less command gives you the ability to scroll line by line, right? So that can be done using this one. So execute this command. First execute without less, then execute pipe less and see what is happening. Okay, any questions so far? I know a lot of information. Okay, let me put my question in that way. Everybody is with me so far. Okay, thank you, Tarun, Raj, Anish. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know it's too much information, but yes, by the end of our training, that's what I mean. It's not okay. I will tell this later, but it's a break time. I can see your faces. You really, the faces are saying me, give us a break. So let's take a quick break. Okay, and our break 10 minutes is okay, everybody, or 15? Just quickly type in chat. Okay, let's go. Oh, okay. No, no. Okay, guys, so see you in 10 minutes. Enjoy. All right, guys, I'm back. Please give me quick confirmation. Is everybody back? Great. Okay. Okay, so thank you for the confirmation. Let's go. So, fine. So now, so far, we have created users and all these files created, right? Directory created. Now it's time to go into the permissions and ownership section. So as I said, as a DevOps engineer, we need to know this, but I will also tell you how you do this, because most of the time, um, it's many, I mean, when you execute or when you install something, especially in the container, when you run the container and container won't come up on the server, and if you don't know what's wrong with permissions and ownership, you will be screwed, right? Screwed, it means you will be end up with the lots of troubleshooting. So as a DevOps engineer, this is also important concept we should know, right? So let's go ahead and see what do we have over here. So you remember I executed this command long back, right? So, and it says ls. Of course, we know ls, it means listing, right? And l means long listing, it gives more details. H means human readable, s means sorting by the size. So I have this file, large file, right? And I talk about this site, right? This site, but I didn't talk about this side as well. So let's see what these are. Okay. So on this one, right? When you see this one, okay. Yeah, Chulsum, please, do you have any question?
Yes, I can't. I don't know if you're sharing your screen because I can't see anything at the moment.
Okay, is the same for others? Okay, others can see. Could you rejoin? Maybe the screen got struck or something like that. Just reload and you'll be rejoined. Okay. So okay. Can you see now the screen I'm sharing? Okay. I hope
No, sir. Let me try one more. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yes,
it's
thank
fine.
you.
Okay. So no worries. We'll go back, and I was referring this screen again. Rest, guys. You hope you don't mind. I don't want to move ahead until and unless, and I told you, I promise you, I make sure everybody understand the concept. Okay, so no harm. Let's quickly revise. So I just showed this one, and I said, okay, we talk about this time, I mean, this column, right? We talk about we know it's simple time, date and time. Okay, who cares? Very important, you must care. Here we talk about the size, but these things we did not talk about. So let's go ahead and see what these are. So when I zoom a little bit more over here, so here, especially in this one, okay, this everything defines something. Okay, here what is, so first thing is the permission. Okay, let's, because our topic is also permission and ownership, right? So in permission, you have only three kind of permission. First one is read, okay, which is represented by R. Second one is to write, which is represented by W. Third one is execute. right? Execute represented by X. And here are the some conventions naming, I mean the numeric values of this. Read can be, because you may be seen when you maybe reading a topic or some documentation to follow along, right? So you maybe see this convention 4 2 1 or 6 or something like that. So if it says 6, it means this is the combination of read and write. Okay, and when it says 1, it means it's simply the execute. When it says 5, it means read and execute both. So here, when we see here, there are total 3 3 3. So there are total actually 10 fields in this section, which belong to, I mean those belong to permissions. Okay, so here very first, I mean I should show you. Okay, so here this one thing. Okay, here, okay, maybe I'll come. There is a dash as well as there is a D, right? So we'll talk this in a bit, what is this one. But at the moment, let's focus on this read write. Sorry guys, I put this one wrong, not wrong. So because very first is the dash. Okay, so first we are talking about the files. Okay, I mean, of course, it's a given the name large file, but in the and you are on the server, I mean, on the Ubuntu, so you also you got also got the, by the coloring, like blue one, it's showing your directory. But in server, you really don't have this any kind of things, coloring convention. Everything will be looks in a white color. I mean, all texts are white, background is black, right? So that is black and white combination, nothing else. Okay, this is because of course it's a desktop and it doesn't look appealing, then you don't use it, right? So different. So that's why I'm telling you how you recognize whether it's a file or not. If you see very first as a dash, it means it is file, right? Next it says read, write, and again it's this dash is belongs to this side, not to this one. I'm sorry about this, I'll fix this next time, but concept is correct which I'm telling you. Okay, only the thing is this dash, it should be comes under this green rectangular box. So here dash means no permission at all, zero permission, right? So we have read and write. So how we can execute this as a read and write? So read, it means 4, write means w or 2, right? So 4 plus 2 6, or maybe you could, instead of saying 6, you could say read or write, or maybe you could see 6, no problem at all, right? Second thing, or this first thing, is belongs to the owner, right? So what owner can do on this particular file? So owner can read as well as owner can write on this. So you can edit the inside the file, I mean you are the owner, right? When you create a, by default, whenever you create your home directory files, by default you will be the owner of that file, right? Second field, it represents the group. Okay, so in previous example, previous demo, we saw we created multiple users in one of the group, right? So those all users, so let's say this large file belong to that particular group DevOps, then all those users are able to perform read and write in this particular file. Okay, next thing is for the others, whoever else, those who are not part of this owner and group, everybody comes under the others, right? Me, myself, others, like that. Okay, so for all those it has read permission, and of course you can modify it. You said, okay, I don't want to give access to read access to others as well. Okay, you can modify that, fine. So first field, honor, so okay, we have coloring convention, but both are o, but that's fine. So white O represents others. Okay, green O represents honor, G represents group, right? And how we can see who are the group or who is the owner? So first column says the owner of the file, and you can see this owner has this permission, right? Similarly, this group, because at the moment, I mean now whoever will be, we add other users into this particular group, DSOC3, will be having this kind of permission, read write, right? And other does not have, apart from the read. So these are the permission for the file. Similarly, we have also permissions for the directory. So as I was referring, this first dash represent the regular file. If it says D, it represent the directory, and by which on the server, when you log in, you can identify whether it's a file or whether it's a directory here. And here, if you see, permissions are little bit different. It doesn't have like read write dash, read write dash, and read dash dash. Here it says read write x and read write x, x is for execute, and read dash and x. So same concept, right? Let's go in a bit, that one. So here the first D representing the directory, the next three read write x, it means owner can read into the directory, owner can create into the directory. So what owner can create? Owner can create a directory inside the directory, means folder inside the folder, or files inside the files. That's why it says write. And there is a huge difference here, and again it comes from the experience. I would like to mention over here my own experience. In file you don't see the x, but in directory it says x, like this. And here I'm saying the execute permission. So of course it's, the file is my bash script and I want to execute that. Because when I say execute, so in our mind we have impression execute, it means doing something, right, on the system. But in directory, do you really execute a directory? Okay, we'll come in a bit on this. Okay, hold on. Then, but here read write execute, and for others it says read and execute both. Okay, so let me give you the thing. In directory, execute means, guys, I'm telling you, it's very confusing topic. Feel free, search on the internet, watch videos, and if you think okay, it's clear, I'm telling you, you have to really do a lot of practice on this to understand the concept. I mean, to make more grip on this topic. Okay, but in directory, but as a DevOps engineer, we don't have to assign, we have to understand what permissions are. So that's what I'm doing. But I will also share questions with you, and you can practice if you want to. I recommend, I will encourage you to do the practice, so you will have more grip, or more tight grip on the Linux. Okay, so when you click on your folder, right, so it shows you some of the files. So that means execution permission on the directory. Okay, in terms of file, when you have some script, right, and when you go to slash bin, yeah, slash bin, and find ls, or do this long listing, you will see all the binaries, right? All these commands which I showed you will be their permission will be like executable. It means whenever system wants to execute, it can execute. So on the Linux, that's why Linux is safe. It's not like that even though the script is there, it's get executed automatically. No, first you have to make the file executable, and then you have to execute the file. I mean, if does not have execute permission, right, for the, I'm talking about the file, your script is not gonna run, your script is not gonna give you any of the output. Okay, so by default, that's why you could see there is no execute, and here there is a x permission, execute permission. So execute permission, it means you have to list. When you click on the folder, it should give you the what's inside the folder. If nothing is there, still you can click on the folder and it shows because empty, because it's an empty folder, right? So execute means you are listing the content of the directory. For understanding, I give you the example of folder, but on the terminal, when you do ls and directory name, it gives you some content. It means you are you have a execute permission to see the content of the file. Okay, so don't confuse execute with the read for the directory. It happens, I got also confused when I started. I really did a lot of I really spend a lot of time to learn. I mean, not to learn, to practice. Of course, learn as well. As I practice, I learn a lot, and that's what I'm sharing, right? So, with that brings us to another point, and which is we know this concept: honor, group, others, right? Which are same in case of file, in case of directory, but only read thing is different in both the context. So read, it means in file, read it means you can read the file, open the file, you cannot modify, you cannot edit the file. But in case of directory, read it means different and execute it means different. Understand, right? And these are the default permission. And on Ubuntu, when you execute this command, right, to mkdir, to create a directory touch, it won't give you this kind of permission. So these are the default permission for the file: read, write, read, read. But in our case, we have read, write and read, right? We do not have this one. Why so? Because there is something, I'll quickly show you that as well. But just remember, these are the default 644: read, write, read, read. And here, that's why I was telling you X is the execute. Here we have 755. It means read, write, execute as a honor, read and execute as a other, and read and execute as a group as well, right? So these are the default permissions for the directory. And why this so? Let's quickly show over here. I have created the directory D1 as my DSOC user. Then I switch back to root user using sudo su root, and you can see here the prompt has changed to the hash, right, which is called root prompt. Then I created in the temp directory root directory 1, root file 1. Then I got exit to log out. It's a command to exit from the remote server. Then I have executed this command ls listing based on the time. We know what dash t works, and temp. So here you can see now this is read, write, read, read, okay, which is default permission. And similarly, read, write x, read x, and read x for the directory. But here in this case, rw, rwr, and similarly for the directory, right? So why so? Because of the umask, right? So if you check by this command 022, and when you subtract the your default values with this umask, you will get the permission in the numeric format, and Linux works in the numeric format. Initially when we start, we think, okay, read write x is a better way, but later when you understand the concept, the actual thing, then you switch to, you find it is very easy to work with the numbering. Okay, so root mask is 002, and you run the command on your own Linux server, you will find this 002 for the DSOC 3. That's why these values are like this. Okay, but this is just considered as a bonus topic, but it is necessary, what I felt, right? Then next, I also put all the summary for you, right? Read this, take a time, and these are the permissions, how you can make changes. But as I said, we don't do this. But when the time will come, I will also let you know how you can do this. So for example, when we do the cloud part, right, cloud computing, then we create an instance and we download the file of the server, security file, right? And when you log in, it will give you kind of permission errors, right? So we will see at the time. But you know, there are some concept is there in Linux which is really necessary for the DevOps to know, right? So now you know, if you get some permission errors, you immediately copy your permission error, you go to the chat GPT, paste over there, chat GPT will give you the correct answer. You don't need me at all. But you know what you should know before that, right, to validate the answer, whether this answer correct is not, right? So let's quickly go on this quick confirmation, guys. Any questions on this? Bear with me, I have one, two, three, yeah, 3 4 points more, and then we are done with this. I know it's so many things, but all are important. I really don't want to miss or skip any of the topic. All good, everybody? Quickly, just thumbs up. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. So let's go to our next topic, environment variable. Mitisha. Thank you very much, Mitisha. So environment variable are equivalently important, like what we have talked other topics as well. Right? How so what first of all, what is environment variable? So we always, I mean, we know we studied the math X and Y. That's why I put it to explain very easy. So it's our maths teacher always said, okay, let's assume x equals to 1 and y equals to 2. And when you do x plus y, then you will get 4. No, 1 and 2 plus, I mean, 1 plus 2 is 3. So you will get answer 3, right? So whenever, whenever you need the value of x, so in everywhere across your solving equation or whatever you are doing for that particular math, then you can, once you define the value in x, and then you can use every time the x value, and when you solve the equation and at the end you put the value of the x and you find the value of other variable, like that. So just try to relate this variable concept from the maths. Or if you don't think, okay, I'm not a math person, then I will give you more easy example. We everybody use mobile, right? So all your mobile, right? So you have home button. So when you press on the home button or when you tap on the home button, right? So mobile knows where it has to land you back. It bring you back to the home screen, right? Where you can see all the apps, right? Similarly, so this is one of kind of variable. Next thing, when you see this multiple app icon on the mobile screen, so consider this, each and every app icon is a variable. When you tap on that particular, let's say I want to do WhatsApp call. So I tap on the WhatsApp, then I clicked on the icon. I didn't go actually inside, right? And then my mobile knows what it has to do. So this information is available on the icon. Then rest of the things will be done by the Android operating system. So similarly, we also have some environment variable inside the Linux, right? So I hope that makes sense. If not, it will make more in a bit. Very first thing, environment variable. I will also let you know where you use this as a DevOps, right? But first, let's understand what is environment variable. I mean, we understood, but how you can check this. Here I use this command wc-l, right? So it just count everything, all the lines inside that, right? And it gives me the total number of file, or file size is 26 in line, right? So it's a kind of big, which won't come over here. So what I have done, I said, okay, print env. When you first execute, I mean, when you try at home, first execute print env actual command. Okay, don't go with this shortcut, and see what you get. All very long list. So you maybe get 26 line or 26 environment variable in the system, right? I'm telling you, bear with me, what this variable does very quickly. But so what I have done, print env, then pipe, as I said. So I'm just taking input, output of this command as an input for this command. And we know tell command gives us the last part of the file, and we more control on the output. We say tell command, we only need the last 5 lines, right? So it gives us the this one, last file. Another command, I can see my viewing environment variable using env. I again did the same thing. See, this also gives me the 26, and this also gives me the give me the 26, right? So both has the same, right? Here again, when I executed, I'm getting the same thing. So print env and env, two commands are to see your environment variable. Next one, what are the common environment variable? So again, I use this graph e and all these things. Here I again did the same thing using different, so you understand what I'm trying to refer, right? So don't go into this one, just see the output. So here shell, pwd, home, language, usr, I mean user, right? And path. And guys, important thing over here, these are the common and already predefined in the system. And all environment variables are always go in capital, right? So all systems, whenever in Linux, that's why I told you Linux is cache sensitive. When you type shell and shell, both are different, and you can do it by defining an environment variable, right? So shell is, we know what is shell. My shell is bash, right? And pwd, my home, it's, we know it's a print working directory by default. It's giving me the this one, DSOC3, my home directory. Again, it's giving me the home directory, and this is the language, right? And this is the user. So, and this is the path, right? So it says user local sbin, user local bin, user local or usr/sbin, and all these things, right? And when you install, so it, these environment variables are similarly like when you do any programming, then, or when you install the Java, you will be able to see some kind of path is set, right? So you don't need to again and again, um, for example, I executed this env command or ls command. So ls command is over here, slash local, or let's say slash bin, yeah, slash bin, this one, right? So if I will have to type all the time slash bin slash ls slash bin slash grab slash bin, I'm just giving it the example, right? Then it will be a little bit headache for me. So instead of that, what I've said, okay, I will always have to go to the bin. So it assumes, okay, path is already set, so and system knows, okay, this is the path. When you say ls, so system will go inside this and see, okay, where it is matching. It says, okay, slash bin, and inside slash bin it finds the ls command, cat command, right? So in that way the environment variables works, and these are the common one. Next thing, how to set up and how to unset. Okay, so here I said echo, and you, when you want to retrieve your environment variable, you need to use dollar sign and my whatever your environment variable name. Okay, then what I've done, I said export, I have to use export command, right? Export is means I'm informing system, okay, system, this is my environment variable. Okay, then I have given a value temporary, this is the value of the, so let's consider this is x, and I said x equals to 1. Now this when I say export, it means I send those values to the system. It means I inform my operating system, my Linux, okay, when I said my temp variable, it means this is the x, and temporary, it means this is the value of 1. So I won't say 1 all the time. I will say, okay, my temp variable, or I would say the x. And when I say echo, so echo is also one of the command, which we know echo meaning, it's a simple from the English, right? So echo, when you do echo dollar my temp, and it will give you the value. This is where you do the temporary. Okay, and another way is your .bash rc file. So .bash rc file, it's your user configuration file. Okay, when you log into the system, all the time, all your information, after this, take a time and read what insight you will get. Okay, so this is the, I would say, the only configuration file which is not in etc directory, right? So inside we have all the users, because user when log in, it lands into the, it's a home directory, that's why it puts in your home directory. And when you say ls, okay, I think I didn't show you dash a. So when you say ls dash a, it will show you dot, all the dot files, right? All the hidden files. So when you done this, it says echo export, this one, my permanent is the value, and you use double this one, right? It means you are echoing on the screen, and it is also kind of a piping thing, not exactly the piping, but instead of this one, you are writing in this file without opening the file, right? So this is another thing. So if you use only, and be very much careful when you use this, if you don't use two times this greater than or less than, whatever you want to say, I say it, call it as a greater than, yeah, greater than. So if you don't use this two times, it means what happened, all the contents, whatever you are gonna put in this, so everything will be deleted, only you will end up with this line. Okay, so always remember what you are doing with this command. When you put to it means it is going to append whatever, or at the end, whatever you have in .bash rc file. This, I have put this snapshot over here as well, right? It will go at the end and append over there, right? So always remember this to sign. And before going to do that, sorry, I didn't thought to, which I just thought, in Linux, whenever you are going to edit any of the file, I told you the cp command is there, right? So just copy your file. So just as a this one dot bash rc underscore backup or underscore original, whatever you like. If you messed up with this file and if you got screwed, then you can use your original file. Okay, especially you are starting, so I will highly recommend, encourage you to go ahead and do that. Okay, first take a backup, make a copy of this backup. It means simple, make a copy of this somewhere else, right? And then start editing this one. So this is where you have permanently make a changes, and once you open using the vim editor or whatever your favorite editor, in gedit is also one of the editor, you can open the file and you can find this value at the end. But here what happened, I when I said echo my this one, it didn't say anything to me, so I have to restart the server system, right? So instead of that, the genius they created, the Linux, they know, of course my all the users, my data is there, everybody is accessing, I cannot restart. So instead of that, and I cannot log out as well, because when you log out and relog in, this bash rc files will be reloaded from the system. So without doing that, you have a command source, guys, which this is really important command. Remember source, just to refresh. It is also kind of interview questions. Okay, they say, okay, you have made some changes and you want those changes to be applied on the system, then how will you do? So you have the command source dot bash rc. Okay, and once you refresh your bash rc, it means this command, it means you are relogged in on your system, so it's refresh the everything on your system. So it's similarly like f5 command on your windows, it refresh, right? And then you say echo and it comes over here, right? And especially here, one thing actually I could have been skip this one, but I wanted to show you when you make any changes, right? So what I have did here, I did not put the colon here, double quotes in this, just to show you. And then I executed this command and it gives me what? Unexpected end of file. So when I executed over here, then I didn't get any error. So if you get any error, it means your file, there is a problem with this file. Go ahead and check the file. Okay, and if you don't get any error, it means simple, there is no problem with your file, all good, it happens. And it says 118, it means when you open vi and when you type on your keyboard 118 and type gg, you will directly go to the line number 118. Of course, I do not have much time to show you all the things, because on each and every topic I could have been talk several hours, but yeah, it just came up, so I told you that as well. And again, you have to unset. So of course, simply you set unset to just temporary. And for this, of course, sid is the command. Additionally, or what you can do, just open vim bash rc file and delete this entry or comment this entry, just put a hash sign in front of that and you are good with that. Additionally, you can also this files, if you cannot open, or if you are lazy like me, you don't want to open the file and edit all these things, so it changes in places. It means here and here, it says find this one and delete this one, so it will delete, and then you do echo, it's gone. Now the point is why I have showed you. So I have taken this snapshot from the aws documentation where it says export. Now you know the export command, right? And you can easily do the your key and reason, not only the key id, the password, but you let's say you are always working in us west, or maybe happy southeast one or something else, right? Particular the region, right? So in that way, what you can do in your system, you can export, right? Or maybe let's say for time being you are working on us west 2 region, so instead of going and putting the hard code, you can temporarily set the export aws default region equal to this one. And once you are done with this, then you can unset the variable, and then again you can reset, right? So in that way you can use this. This is one of the use case. Second use case, when we creating a pipeline, then we will be creating a lot of variables for our pipeline, and that will be using our pipeline not only for the credentials. It may be environment variable from the application. It may be environment variable for the production, maybe deployment, or maybe not the deployment, for the development or the staging, right? So that's why this concept is really important as a DevOps engineer. This is all the summary for you guys. Take a time, read about it. I'll take 10-15 minutes more and I think we are done. Am I going faster, guys? So please let me know if I'm going faster or you're not getting the points. Okay, I take as a no then. Thank you. So package management, it's a simply what package here in Linux package, it means the software we are installing on. So instead of that, we say package, right? So we can install the software, we can uninstall the softwares like you do on your laptop, right? Similarly, so the general term, it's a package management. So here I have three very popular operating system. I mean, not the operating system, the family, right? This is the distribution, okay? Ubuntu, which is Debian-based. So those who don't know how the sign of the Debian, it's like this, okay? And what I can do with on my system, I can update the package list. Package, it means the software which are installed. I can install, I can remove here. I can list what are the installed, like I'll show you in a bit the command, and I can also search what I want to install and how I can use this. So see all this, like if I have to update, I will execute the command apt update install. So I have just taken example of OpenSSH server, which we have seen because we start with that. I can also remove important. These are the three things. Three things are important over here. How? So when you have to enable, right? So once I install, so in my example I check whether its service is running or not. So that is the status. If it didn't say anything, then I can say okay, systemctl start ssh. Similarly, this enable, it says when system or when server is reboot, then this service should be automatically come up. Okay, so that's why we have enable, and yeah, some other commands as well. You got it. Next, we have CentOS or RHEL based or Yum using Yum repository. Okay, so it is another kind of family. Okay, when I started with this one. Later on, I also, because I work as when I started work on the DevOps thing, then I found Ubuntu is more better, more support. I mean, more supports if there. Right. So here, similarly, instead of apt, you use Yum command. So if I want to install the same my SSH on CentOS, so what I will do, I will execute this command, I will run this command yum install open SSH server, and this will install it. And similarly, it's Alpine. Yes, intentionally I put it over here, and because when I started with the RHEL CentOS thing, and then I moved on to Ubuntu, and when I started with the containers, especially, then I found Alpine is really amazing, very lightweight, very small size, and so many amazing things. But the thing is, so you can make a time. Okay, so since beginning, if you remember, nothing will be surprise for you. What is important thing over here, everywhere you can see there is no sudo, right? So as I said, execute this command without root, login, without sudo, and observe what happens. I know you cannot, but observe the error. That is your experience to record the errors, what kind of errors you get. Okay. Now I quickly show you, already we did these things, right? Now this example, or this will make more sense. We first see whether apt list whether the package, right, it is installed or not. It says open SSH client, not the server. Then we did search, apt search open SSH server, right? Then we got this open SSH package. Okay, then I said apt install open SSH server, and I got the error. Okay, it's a sudo and open SSH install. Then I provide this one, all these things happen. Then I provided yes, right? And when I said yes, we got this information. Right? Very simple, but as a engineer, you know, because why I showed you, when you have a use case where you have to use different um, Linux distribution, Docker images or container images, then by reading the instruction, right, you know what is happening. Maybe you are not going to use, maybe you're reading the Docker file itself. And also to building a Docker files, you need to know this command. Okay, that's why I showed this. Another thing, system monitoring and management. Let me quickly go over here. So here the monitoring management. So far, so many things we have seen that comes under the system management part, right? So in monitoring, I have three things for you. I think three or four. So first thing is stop. Okay, top is give you the real-time summary of what process you are having. Why do you need to know? I will definitely let you know as well. When you execute this command, this here, this dollar is not a part of the command. Okay, remember this one. It's just show you you can execute this command here. You can execute this command without any root privilege, right? So you get this kind of a screen. So here we have process. You can see PID here, user, and this one CPU percentage and all these things, right? So this is one of the command, very powerful. Next is the htop, which does the same thing. I like to use this one better than that one, but unfortunately on the server you don't get htop. You have to install the htop, right? And you how here, I mean, you have to practice these options, I know, but I'm just going a little bit faster here. So I said user and I said dsog3. So here you can see all my user. So again the same but more uh, intuitive way, right? And I like this more. Here you can also see the kind of bar which is going up and down, and you know, we created a SAP. We can see the memory status, what is happening my on this screen. You can get all the snapshot. Here the interview questions would be, I will let you know what kind of interview questions, but this one, load average, this is one of the kind of, this is the uptime, right? It is also one kind of your interview question, and some other as well. So I'll come to you on this point one moment. But here you can see very well, instead of executing this command, right, which is much more better than, but unfortunately when you get on the server it's a top, but top is more powerful. And then you have PS, which is reports the snapshot of processes. So ultimately monitoring, in we are doing the processing thing. I mean, we are looking about the process. So when I execute this command ps-aux, the top bar gives me this header, right? And here again, guys, you maybe realize I used a lot of grep, right? And this is very simple. It is nothing. It is more powerful than this one, right? So when I did like this, this header is not there. That's why I put in this way. So ps is the command by which you can see the processes, right? And why do you need to know the process? So whatever is happening on your system, okay, it is actually a process on your system, and this process belongs to user, right? And here the second column is the PID, right? It means each and every user. As I told you, the Linux rely on the numbering system, not on this one. So based on that, it gives you here the user ID, then process ID. So what happened, like you getting some hard time with the system, it's not functioning properly. So if you are able to log in on the server, you quickly check, okay, which, so it says process A for all, U for user, X for all the background processes as well, right? So you do all these things, and right after that, you know, okay, this process is consuming a lot of resources, so not maybe responding. You can do the kill. Okay, kill is one of the command to kill your like you do in task manager in Windows, you're forced to quit it or end it like that, right? So here what I've done, simply the same thing, or I did the SSH. When I say PSAUX, so it gives all users on the system, those who are using SSH, right? But it also using those things, those I mean other users, those are, or not other user, the processes which does not have terminal directly associated with, or I would say the the more what we call background processes. So when I say ps-x, so this does not have, it has I mean question mark, and it has pts1, and you see here it says tty. When you execute ps-x, it will give you this one is process id 1174 right. Next one is the tty. I'm sorry, I forgot to put it over here, but yes, this is your terminal, and in my case I'm using sudo terminals as one, right. And again, I have some other values, so by which if I want to know what are the background processes in my system, let's say you didn't install, or maybe you install some of the application, and along with the ssh, instead of installing from the repository, you download some application from untrusted site, you install on your system. And if you want to check whether this downloaded system, I mean there are other ways as well, but if you want to know when I install this particular software, then what other background processes are working behind my system, might be some data is being stolen from my system by this software because it's a free, it might be happen. And this way, if you know Linux more, you do in security more stuff, right. There is more other things as well. Before installing the actual package, we have other commands as well by which we can verify whether but that's a part of security, but it just came up over here how I used it in security, so I just told you like that. So when I execute, I mean I want to see what are the background eax all users. So I grab s, right. So all users, okay. A, it means the terminal associated with all users. So at the moment root is not login, root is not using, I was logging from the remote, right. And my terminal id is pts1/1, so that's why it's saying like this. And when I execute all this, so it says ps-aux, all users processes, or all processes, whether it has associated with terminal, whether it is running in background, all the users on the system. So you could see root, it says sshd, right. And these are the path. Now the question is, why do you need to know this process? So guys, when we'll start the containerization, I will again refer back you this, and I will give you more information. So at that time, this ps command explaining would be hard for me, and for you it's more surprised to know what is happening. So when you execute this command, right. So when I will tell you, okay, or maybe you are reading some documentation, and they say no process should be run as a user, or maybe process id 1, then you may be wondering what is this thing is referring, right. So that's why we know the process. And maybe if I could show, not here, yeah, here you could see the PID. This column says PID. See, that's why I top is more okay. Anyways, no comparison, but root is always one, okay. And my, if you see all this, everything is at the moment is showing based on the that's on the root. So that's why always never ever run anything inside your container using the process id 1, because whatever is running as a 1 is means it is running as a your root user. And root, being a root user, it's very dangerous, right. Lot, it's the Peter's law, great responsibility comes with great power, Spider-Man. Okay, so that's about this. And I also told you about one more thing over here. Okay, the same thing, same information is also for you available over here, load average. So these are the three things what this three things shows. Okay, this is the interview question, and it says 0.00, 0.00, and 0.00. So here it says first 0, it means 1 minute average load of your system, right. Next field, this says 5 minutes of average load of your system, and the last field says 15 minutes of average load of your system. And all these values should not go above 1, or should not even reach the 1. If it is even near the 80, 0.80, it means your system is gonna crash. Okay, This is one thing. I also told you uptime. So maybe it is asked how you can check the uptime. So there are so many other commands as well, but here you can also see the uptime. And I think here also you get the same thing. I don't use top much. I use the htop because I have access, and you can also see the login user. It says 3 user, and yes, so it means not the actually 3 user. So if you use multiple remote session, you can count everything over here, task over here, CPU percentage, memory percentage, and all this thing. Okay, so this is this one, and yeah. Okay, guys, very quick. I have two more topics for you, but I will show you very quickly. Okay, this is the two command, this df. Okay, this is for system space. So it says disk free. Okay, how much disk is free on your system, but here if you see the system disk space, it says uses, but it's the same story, half glass full and half glass empty. But for me, I remember it use to just remember myself, I use df, disk free. When I use this command, it will give me all this information, right? File system, we talk about the file system, right? These are the size used, available, and mounted, where it is mounted on. But let's say the better version, when I use dash h, you maybe realize so far dash h is everywhere is the same, not different for other commands, right? So when I use this, so I can see the size in very well, used in mgm or something like that, available, what's available, and where these are, and these are the mount points, right? If I execute with dash t, it will also give me the file system, right? Like this. Oh, sorry, here. What are my file system? And now we know what are the file system: ext4, right? vfat and tmp f1. This is just for the temp one, right? And similarly, disk uses. Again, it says estimate file space uses. So yeah. So again, is the same. If you just execute du disk uses, then it will give you a lot of command. So I, instead of just to show you what you basically use, if you want to use on your system which directory has taken a lot of space, right? So you just execute this command, it will give you all the directory. But if you want to see how much amount of data is executed or being used for my home directory, so I can say du. So this tilde sign, it means is the home directory. I'm already over here. If I don't provide tilde and slash, it will still work, and it will give me all this kind of things. Then I said, okay, give me in human readable format. Then we go ahead and execute this. So we got this information k or something like that. Before it was in byte. Then I said, okay, give me a summary total. So it gives me a summary, only the total for each argument. So in this my argument, it's a total, it's a 16 kb. You could confirm over here. Then I said see, so it says the grand total, overall everything inside. So when I see it, so it gives me all the information of this DSOC3, because in total is still is the 16, right? And I use the option C and A together, then I got this one. But maybe you realize this 16 is same everywhere, right? So these are just a way to execute this command. That is for directory, and this is for your sign. You can also use du to check the file. So du, again, it's give me byte. I use dash h just as a large file. Then I use s as a it is again total size, it gives me in a byte, right? Then I said s and h together, and when I say ch, so it gives me the total, and inside this I have one file, right? So this is a you can use the disk. Why do you need to know that? Of course, it's related to when you get notification, or maybe something is not happening, or you want to know what exactly the size. Of course, guys, in real life, in real world, in real actually company, we don't rely on this, but these commands are helpful as a DevOps engineer. When you receive something, get a notification, and notification doesn't give you the what is happening, right? Why application is not coming up. So maybe this is one of the troubleshooting step where you can see and execute this commands and identify whether it's an issue with the disk or not, right? And this is the summary. And so, and I come to So in this networking, I would like to mention important command ping, right? It's just a packet of the network. When you ping something, it means you get some output back. So for example, especially on Linux, don't just ping and let's do the popular website, because it will keep on continue giving with the output, right? Okay, to come out from that, you could use Control C, or if you just want to test, because if I get one ping or two ping, three ping, or maybe let's say five pings, then I can say, okay, my connectivity is good, right? I don't need to continuously monitor. But if you want to continuously monitor, you have other options as well, right? So you can use ping, like some critical, let's say uh, we are doing streaming, right? And streaming, so you don't want anything happen on the server, then what you will do, you keep on pinging the thing. But as I said, yes, this is just example. We have tools to do that for the monitoring, and there is a dedicated team for that. But still, you can use this way. Ping is one of the utility you can see. And here it says, what is this? 3 packets transmitted, 3 packet received, 0 packet lost time. So 0 packet loss means yes, our connectivity is good. This is one of the networking command. Another one is ifconfig, which is similar to, I think, ipconfig on the Windows, where you can see the IP address of your server, right? So, I mean, you may be thinking, okay, it's a very silly thing. I'm logging on the server, so I know what is on the server, right? What's my server IP? It's not like I don't know. So guys, this is not just the command to give you the to know the IP address of your server. It is more than that. I'll show you why and what. Okay, another command is IP. Okay, and it says manipulate routing devices policy in tunnels, right? And it says configure network interface parameter, right? So let's see both the inner one. So I use ifconfig. Again, I use the grep. Okay, and I said, okay, whatever is a small a to z, capital A to Z, give me like this. So it gives me all the network interfaces over here. So I have two network interface on my system, right? ENP0S and all this thing, ENP0S9. And this LO, it means loopback, it's a local address. Then I use IP address show this interface name. So I would not say LO, I would say this is an interface. Then it will give me this, the more information. So you might be having a more or not, I mean, not three, maybe so many network interfaces. You can be using this command, because when you execute this ifconfig, all these three will be displayed along with all the details, and you really don't want to look into everything, or forget about this manual thing. You are doing the scripting, then what will you do? First you have to identify, and out of this you, or maybe you are grabbing this detail and giving the user as a take a select, okay, what you want to do. In that case, you need this kind of things, right? And when I say IP address shows, it gives me more information about my local address, right? Another thing, netstat. It's very useful command. It really does a lot of things, but where will we use in DevOps? Let's see. So first of all, you will not see on this on your system. Okay, so you have to install like this. We already saw the package management. By that you can sudo apt install, and the command name is netstat, but package name is net-tools. Remember, okay? But Ubuntu is smart enough, and that's how these repositories are configured. I mean, this utility is configured, which gives you the package name itself, right? Because when you execute command, it gives you the option what you do. Would you like to do that like this? I install this over here, then I come back after installation on the screen, and I executed this command sudo netstat and -tuln. What basically it does, it gives me all the snapshot of my system, of the all the ports which are open, right? They are listening from where and there and all these things. So here it says foreign address, it says local address, so it means and it says state listening. So when, for example, you are configuring an application and the port maybe accidentally, because when you are managing lots of application, right, you are deploying lots of application, and you forgot, okay, which port is open, because it is really hard for you to know how many ports are you already open on the system or being used already, right? So this command, and when you deploy it by the pipeline, and what happened, the application got fed, right? And it gives you the port is already binded, port binding error, which is called. Then you have to decide what port should I use, because everybody has their own convention to follow whatever we do. And maybe you said, okay, let's do this port X22, and for X443 or X22 or like that, or Y22. Then at the end you end up with all the ports or whatever you think in a way. But company it doesn't happen like this. Properly have documentation and all this thing. But still, when you are deploying and something is failing, so you cannot go to your colleague or your manager and say, okay, what port is this port available? Then say, why I mean, why did you hire you if you cannot check whether port is available or not at the particular server, right? So in that way, you can you can execute this command. You can see where it is accepting the traffic. It says 000 000. It means zero. It means it's accepting traffic from everywhere on my local system. We can restrict this as well when we open. Well, we start container. I will show you how you can restrict this as well. Additional security thing. Okay, so this is one, but again I use grep 22 to show you this one only, because since then we are talking about the SSH, so that makes more sense and you guys will be able to correlate it more easily. So you could see the 22 port is open on my system here, right over here, and it is, this one is IPv6 kind of thing. No, not IPv6, foreign address, yeah. And yes, so it's accepting traffic from everywhere. Okay, so it is right over here. You can also see here, if you see, for example, any port I could open 22. Okay, nothing is there. Anyways, let's go ahead. Security, and yes, this is our last topic. Congratulations. So there are so many things in the security, but as a security point of view, what we talk about here is the firewall. And to manage a firewall, we have two utilities. One is iptables, which I found very complicated. You could see iptables -a input -p tcp dport 222j, etc. So it's again the 22 port number which I showed you just right now, right? So sometimes it happened, when I told you the 22 port refuse, so refuse, sometimes what happened on the server, especially whether you install the operating system, not the operating system, the package, but the port, the firewall, right, the firewall restrict the port, then it says the connection refuse, or maybe timeout or something like this happen. Okay, so it says append d and all these things, but what is actually happen over here, let's see. Let me go over here. So first I run this command just to list what is happen. So here you can say chain input, forward and output, and target port, and all these things. So what I did, I execute the command which I showed you before. So what it has done, it is in this IP table. It's a utility like ls command, cat command. So but this utility is interacting with your firewall of the local operating system, right? And here we said, okay, -a is for accept, right? Sorry, append the rules, right? And here input, so input is our rule chain, right? Here we already have. And p is for port, kind of port TCP, destination port 22. And here another thing which we have, so we have specific the target for the rule. So we said j accept, and as soon as we have done, so target is our change as a accept, port TCP, and it says destination anywhere, but here you could see destination port SSH instead of 22, because SSH is also kind of protocol. When you do not have a standard protocol and you open, let's say, okay, 1234 1000 or something like that, because 65,000 or something ports are there. uh, if those are not a standard port or protocol, then you could see the port number over here, right? So in that way, but As I said, I don't use it, but I found this is very useful. UWF. Okay. And it is not Ubuntu firewall. Okay. It's this uncomplicated firewall. It is an interface to iptables. It's actually is the same, but it communicates with the uh, just consider it's a kind of front end or middleware in between iptables and this, right? So very first thing I said, okay, sudo ufw status. So on your system, when you run this, you will find the same inactive. It means it is not active at all. So you have this option: enable, disable, status, allow, and deny. So you can enable it. Don't do this. Just I'm explaining you to understand what this. Yes, when time will come, I will show you when you have to enable. Okay. Then I said I enable. It says yes, I want to. And after that, again, because I already allowed this 22 TCP, right? Then I say sudo UFS status. Then see, it's very simplified. Two for which port is open for 22 is allowed from where, anywhere, for IP4 and IPv6. That's it. Very simple output, right? It here, if you see, okay, little bit you need a time to make familiar yourself, and right, correct. So that's what happened in this one. So I will go with the UF, but first of all, don't enable it. If you enable, I showed you the command over here how you can disable. Simply disable it. Okay. And when this time we allow, you can also deny the port 22. Nobody is able to do access your port. Okay, this 22. So with that said, it's done from my side. I really appreciate, guys, your passions, your, I mean, I feel like you are also committed to learn like me to, as I committed to share my knowledge with you. I really appreciate, though we extended today and I expected, and I know I also went little bit fast. I think I tried to maintain the pace as well, but I didn't skip any of the information. And we cover too much um too much topics today and tons of command today, and I know it's lot of things. I always prevent you to watch this video, but this time I will tell you, yes, we have a lot of information today, right? So if you don't catch anything, and if you need a refreshment, feel free to watch, right, when we upload this on the YouTube. Okay. And this is time for the Q&A. If you have any questions, please, Samal. Okay, thank you, Tarun.
Okay, I really don't have any question. Thank you so much, sir, for the lessons. Yeah, it was interesting, but like you always said, it's a whole lot. So I think I'm going to go back and kind of watch the video all over again, then try to practice on my own. So yeah, you said something about giving us practice questions. I'd like to know, when do we expect that, please?
Which links you mean?
You talked about practice questions. You said you're
Practice
going to.
quizzes, yes. So for practice quizzes, we have this WhatsApp group, and we post over there. I think, are you in our WhatsApp group?
Not yet.
Okay. So okay, let me quickly check your details. I think you already registered, right?
Please.
Okay, I will check, Small, or I would also have your email ID. If not, then I will add you. And yes, so I will post over there as well. And so yes, at the moment our GitHub repository, so it's not there. Maybe I will introduce in the next session. So because the description, and there also YouTube also has limit, I cannot put more things over there, but yes, we can put the links. And questions, yes, but this video you will get by tomorrow. After that, I will put a question for the exercise.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, guys? No. Okay. So before I wrap up, guys, so this is not the end of the Linux, right? Of course, the end of this our day one, but this is a start of our the Linux actually. So now when you do practice and throughout our session we will be using the ubuntu and I will be using all this command. Maybe you wondering in the start I didn't give you the examples of tell, had, less and more, right? I'm sure this question, somebody got this question, right? Why I don't show you the example, just giving you the summary, but later on I showed you how many places I use, right? So similarly, this is just a start, it's not the end, and we are going to use the Linux throughout our rest of the training and for all other things, right? So quickly, what we have covered so far, right? So we have covered the desktop navigation, terminal GUI versus that is just as a beginner, and now after this session you completely agree with me why the terminals commands are more important than the GUI, because the command, the output which I showed you, if I go in the GUI I would not able to filter out and see, let's say for this file, that file, or those things. I have to just, if I open editor file, so it will give me all the output, right? We also explore the Linux file system, the fundamental commands we already saw, right? And today we have done with the essential DevOps command. And as I said, when time comes, I will be giving you the more commands, right? I will, guys, I'm using, as I said, more than, I mean, I have a lot of things to share on the Linux because I've been using more than 20 years. I mean, maybe more than that. Before even I started Linux to use from the school itself, and since then I'm a big fan of the Linux. And on the other hand, I have experience and I try to cover as many as topic. And I'm not saying this is one of the best or something like that, but give me your feedback. What do you think? Do you find this kind of comprehensive video only dedicated to DevOps? And also this message is for our YouTube family, and yes, we are also expanding, and I'm really happy that many people like you guys, you register, sign up for this free training, and I help everybody, those who are entering into the IP. This training is free. It's my part of my volunteer work. We don't charge. In orientation session we already discuss why we have this free trainings, right? Maybe next time, guys, like Soma, you and we have one more participant. This session got very long, so maybe people couldn't stay a longer. One of the people had to left, right? But I really appreciate, and we are receiving a lot of love from our YouTube family members. And yes, one more thing apart from the exercise question, guys, I promised you to give you a project. Once you are done with the commands, practice commands, then let me know. I will share a project with you. Then you can, whatever I have shown you over here, right? You will apply your all the learning in that project and you will get the real idea. I mean, you may be, I have been saying this thing so many times, it's not administration work. We are not going to do administration work, but more you know, more would be better for you. Maybe you can say maybe your Linux administrator say, oh, I cannot do this thing because of this thing. And if you know, you can say it's a very simple thing, just one command you have to execute, go over here and do it. Then the guy cannot make you fool. So this is the difference of learning, right? So I will be sharing but the project as well, and there you can do the project. I will definitely help you in that, to how you can, um, first I will having a session with you to explain you what that project you have to do, or maybe I will share with you first and then you can work on this and try to understand what this project is about, right? And try to solve. I will definitely help you. I will also provide you a solution, but before going to see the solution, I want you to develop an approach inside you. Okay, because if you see solution, of course you put all the questions on the your favorite chat, or the AI companion, you will get the answer. But in that way, you are not gonna learn, right? And that is not our target. We want to learn, we want to grow. And how, and whatever error, and one more thing, guys, whatever error you are receiving, maybe I will show you my Google Drive someday. Since beginning, I have stored my all the errors which I have got. Okay, so just put it somewhere, and what is the problem, what is the root cause, when you find the solution, and put also what is the solution for that. And if you receive solution from some of the link, that reference is also put in there. Because when you grow, it means when you become expert, this will be your experience. Okay, experience, it doesn't mean I have worked on the same thing since this many longer time. No, in that longer period, what of the other things I explored on that particular thing. Okay, if same thing, if whatever I have done in 20 years, if I have been done in 1 month, it means my experience is equivalent to 20 years. That's it. So as usual, this is the contact details if you have something, and if you would like to recommend this training to your friends as well, feel free to do that. And our social media things is also available. I will share with you guys next week. And the big thanks, and this big again thanks to you guys for extending this session. I think more than one, almost a 140 plus minute. Last chance, do you have any questions? No, just give me in chat. Okay, thank you very much, thank you for the feedback. So thank you, Karthik sir. I'll surely get back to you once I end up watching that recorded session when you will upload. And I know there would be lots of trouble for you to answer my questions, because many tons of commands we had in this session. So yeah, thank you. Amazing. Thank you, Tarun, for the feedback. And yes, you're most welcome, guys. Ping me if you don't feel like to ping in a group. You can directly ping me as well. I will help you. Okay, but don't. Sure. Yeah, don't directly. Yes, there is a direct way nowadays. You guys are very. It's a facility, right? But I won't tell you to directly go to, you know what I was trying to tell you. Your AI companion, right? Read the documentation, that will make help you. Okay. Okay, guys, anybody else? Then no. Okay, guys, so then thank you very much, big thanks, and see you next week we'll start the again foundational topic for the ABC of DevOps. And that will be the more, yes, in that, especially in that, what we will cover, whatever your interview related questions is specifically to the DevOps, that we are gonna cover in that session. Not the questions, but yes, we will learn everything since beginning, why, what, and where, and how, what problems, and so on and so forth. Okay, now I will let you go, and you let me go as well. It's too long, and I wish you nice start of the week, and see each other next week. And tomorrow you will get the recording.
Bye, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Sumar. Thank you, Tarun. Thank you, Matisha, Raj, Samu, and everybody.